Alright, good morning. Early morning. Holy shit, I was up early tonight, or this morning. I was up early this morning, because I don't know why. But we're here Saturday morning to read some Higurashi for the day. We're starting so early that I'm not going to feel too bad if we option to a little bit of Valkyria Chronicles 4 a little later. But the idea is to read quite a bit. So we're so locked in for Higurashi business reading that no song intro for the stream today. Just going to get right to business. I've rubbed the sleepies out of my eyes. Visually, if you can see that. And we're just going to read a bit. I said I was going to bring this up on the Higurashi stream last night. I said I was going to bring it up on this stream, so I'm going to say it now before I forget. Next weekend, I think I'm set to spend a day at the Ren Fair with some friends. So, and I think that's happening on Sunday next weekend. Normally I read Higurashis on Saturdays, so you'd be like, Austin, you should be fine. But I want to say that with that happening, I might bump Pokemon to Saturday. Like a nice, long Pokemon stream on Saturday. I don't know. I haven't 100% confirmed. Obviously, it's a week out. Who knows what my feelings are going to change or not. But if that's the case, then that would mean we might not read Higurashi. I still want to do some Higurashi on Tuesday next week. But then there might be a missed, normally expected Higurashi stream. It's up in the air. Don't know for sure. It kind of depends on how much we get done today. And also then on Tuesday. It kind of just depends. We're going to play it by ear when it comes to in a week, you know. Because I'm having a ton of fun with Pokemon. And I've been enjoying the really long weekend streams with it. So I don't want to miss that by not being able to stream on Sunday. So it's kind of in my head. I'm competing with, okay, on Saturday next weekend. Do we do that? So in general, I'll say it again during the Pokemon stream tomorrow, because there's a chance that Pokemon gets the short end of the stick, and then we just don't play Pokemon during the weekend next weekend. I don't know. But we'll see. We'll definitely see. So yeah, I'll try to remember to bring it up tomorrow as well, but just wanted to keep in the loop. I'll be gone most of the day for Ren Fair stuff next weekend. On Sunday, I think we landed on, me and my friends, so keep that scheduling wise. If you're like a regular Higurashi watcher, and then you're like, oh man, we're gonna miss a Higurashi stream. There's a lot of Higurashi streams, so you go back and do something. Did I hit screen lock? That's weird on my keyboard. But if you're like, oh, but what about my regularly? I'm used to watching. Go watch them. Go watch the Pokemon streams. That series just started on the channel. I'm having a lot of fun with it. A lapsed Pokemon fan. Do I need to sell out? Go watch some other random game. Go watch a one-off stream of some game. I recently played a battle construction vehicle on the one-off kind of category. Or a short other stream or something. I don't know. Maybe you'll find something else you like on my channel. Who fucking knows? Or don't. Instead, enjoy a nice cup of tea and go outside in place of my normal Higurashi stream or something. I don't know. Do something else for once in your life. Damn it. I just start getting like progressively like more aggressive about what I say. But for right now, we're going to read Higurashi, so it'll be fine. Everyone's chill. And we got Shion doing the biggest sigh ever.
Kei-chan,
Ki-chan, you come up with some ridiculous ideas. This was the first thing Shion said after looking through my carefully written plan. It was hard to tell if she was feeling bewildered or impressed, but for now, her shock was enough to make me feel at least a little satisfied. Also, I should say, sometime this afternoon, once it gets into afternoon time, afternoon territory, I need to make sure I go to the office, the apartment complex office. I need to go pick up a package that I think is coming in today. unless something disastrous happens, and I need to make sure I pick it up today. So probably during like one of our normally like BRBs we take during this. But I'm saying it out loud so I remember to, because highly susceptible to forgetting it on my own. I'm like keeping track of like shipping notifications. It's very important. It was hard to tell if she was feeling bewildered or impressed, but for now her shock was enough to make me feel at least a little satisfied. From what little I heard over the phone last night, I assumed you were just tired and sleep talking. No way. You were serious? And by the way, your handwriting is atrocious. Alright, rude. That's not relevant. And what's this about sleep talking? Just what do you think of me deep down inside? You really want to know? No, I don't. If I heard it, I'd probably have to spend a while reevaluating the significance of my existence. As if to prove that point, Shion pouted and let out an audible tisk at losing the opportunity to tease me. Sheesh. On the other hand, the store manager, Yoshiro-san, was standing next to Shion with a serious— oh my god, the text is off the screen— with a serious look on his face as he read through my plan. The shop is apparently managed by a member of the Sonozaki family, so he's Mion's and Shion's uncle too. Anyway, this is gonna be pretty tough, isn't it? Even if it's going to be done at a smaller branch store level, are you sure it'll be okay? Yes. I already brought that point up with someone familiar with the subject in the neighborhood association. I puffed my chest out as I said that. In reality, it was thanks to Mion acting as a mediator that a kid like me was able to talk to anyone, but I put enough care into it that I felt confident. I proposed an additional main attraction for the bubmanXIV festival to go along with the bargain auction, and that is the Angel Mort branch store. In other words, we're going to have a remote Angel Mort location offering something different from the typical yakisoba, candy apples, and shooting gallery festival stalls. Ki-chan, you understand, right? Festival stalls are supposed to be traditional Japanese in style. Shion, break from tradition. Embrace modernity. If we show up there in our chic outfits, the elderly people are all going to turn their heads and start having nosebleeds. You realize that, don't you? Also, I forgot to mention, last stream of this was stream 100, part 100 of the whole Higurashi series on this channel. We're now, this is 101, because that number comes after 100. Can you believe 101 streams of Higurashi stuff? Crazy. I think I'm just gonna say that and make note of that every time we're in uncharted territory. Whenever we hit part 100 and beyond, I should now be forced to bring up. It will rarely ever happen. It might happen in like the odd one out streams at some point, but if we ever get to part 100, I should just be like, hey, make note of it, and then be like, isn't that crazy? She leaned back to show off the chest of her costume as she said that. No, showing off a lot of skin definitely isn't chic. And who born after the Taisho era even uses the word chic? I was tempted to quip as much, but I decided against it since the store manager was right in front of me. It might turn out to be a hit with the elderly folks. The villagers could only see young girls in costumes like these at the branch school or at enthusiast shops like here. Please don't be so quick to say something so problematic. Since it's a festival, you just have to wear a traditional festival coat over your uniform. That way you can pitch it as something educational for those hard-headed adults. If you want to see the rest, head to the main store. Doubles as an advertisement targeting those guys. Whoa, that's dirty.
せめて作詞と呼んでくれ。それに
At the very least, call it strategy. Besides, this was something I came up during the engagement fiasco. Or maybe I should say I've been considering it since I saw my classmates joyfully cheering at the Angel Mort cakes during my inauguration as class rep. Surprisingly enough, aside from a few courageous lads like Daiki, Suguru, and Kamita-kun, most of the kids I have never even heard of Angel Mort, much less eaten their cake. Cake. There's one particular reason for that. Ironically enough, Angel Mort's biggest selling point is the uniforms. As a result, the customer base is densely dominated by hardcore male customers, which creates an atmosphere where female customers, housewives in particular, would turn their wallets away. And as a result, ordinary children never have an opportunity to taste of the cakes in the store.
まあ確かに一度入れば病みつきにさせる自信はありますが、家族連れで入るにはちょっとハードルが高いかもしれませんね。
Well, that's true. I'm sure they'll become addicted once they step inside, but it might be a high hurdle to convince them to bring their families.
むしろ走り高跳びレベルかも。いや、棒高跳びか。
A hurdle. It's more like on the level of the high jump, or the pole vault.
そんな感じにエンジェルモートのことをよく知ってもらうには絶好の機会だと思うんだけど、どうです？
But I do think it's a great opportunity to get them to know Angel Mort. What do you say?
そうだな。
Let me think.
収益のことを考えたら今のままでも十分なんだが。
Our current revenue is fine enough as is, but
やっぱりお菓子を扱ってる店としては子供たちとか若い女性にも食べてもらいたいのは確かだな。
after all, this is a shop selling sweets. We definitely want kids and young ladies eating here.
後半の方に力がこもってましたね。
Your tone got a lot stronger in the second half of that.
いやいや、俺の趣味で始めた店とはいえ、若いギャルに囲まれた職場の目標を達成した。
Oh my. Even though I only started the shop as a personal hobby, I managed to achieve my goal of finding a workplace surrounded by young gals.
次は大人の女性ともお近づきになりたいと考えるのは人情ってやつよ。
Next, I'll have to think up something that gets me close to adult women. That's just human nature. What about that is human nature? Why are there so many men around me fixated on this desire?
わかりましたよ。
Huh. Very well then.
私も興味がないわけじゃないですしね。
Can't say I'm not interested myself.
というわけで、はいこれ。
In which case, here, take this.
参考までに商品の原価と経費の見積書です。
It's a written estimate for the cost of the goods and services rendered. She unfolded the handwritten budget as she said that and spread it out on the table in front of me. For someone who claimed I was sleep talking, she sure put a lot of effort into preparing this. How dishonest. That's Mion's sister, all right.
っていうか、すごい原価なんだな、ケーキって。
I mean, that's awfully expensive for some cakes.
こんな材料費であれだけの価格つけて売ってるのか？
Considering the cost of materials, do you really sell at that price?
何ですか？キャッチバーみたいに失礼な。
What's that? How rude to liken this place to rip-off bars.
だって人件費とか衣装代とか何やらが普通の店よりも割高ですからね。
Considering the cost and the price of costume maintenance, it's bound to be more expensive than your average store.
これでも結構勉強してるんですよ。
It may not seem like it, but I've studied up on all this, okay?
それ以外にも
Why is he getting cut off?
ケイちゃんたちが大暴れした後の清掃費とか、ケイちゃんたちが壊した洗面所の修理費とか。
And on top of that, you have to consider the cleaning costs after the rampage you and the others went on, and the repair costs of the toilet you broke.
すいません。
Sorry about that.
あの時はやりすぎました。
I went too far that time.
反省してます。
I'll reflect on that. Seriously, she's so persistent. She has the personality of someone pounding out rice cakes.
あの時の武勇伝は聞いてるよ。
I've heard that heroic story, you know.
シオンちゃんがそりゃもう上機嫌で話してくれたからね。
Shion-chan was completely ecstatic when she told me about it.
こら、おじさん、
Come on, uncle.
余計なこと言わない。
Don't go saying things that don't need to be said. Shion's face turned red as she jabbed her elbow into the store manager's side. Well, sure, it must have been a pain, but if Shion is talking to people like it's something fun, it can't be that bad, right?
あ、でもケイちゃん分かってます？
Oh, but Kei-chan, there's one more thing to consider.
屋台の食べ物の基本は食べ歩きですよ。
The most basic rule of food stalls is that you need to be able to eat while walking.
フォークとお皿だと食べづらいし、 使い捨てでも原価が上がりますよ。
It's difficult to use forks and plates while moving around, and if we provide disposable flatware, it'll increase our costs even more, right?
けど焼きそばとかたこ焼きなんかと同じだろ。
But can't you handle it the same way they do with yakisoba and takoyaki?
割り箸と安物のパックだって。
Just use disposable chopsticks and cheap packaging.
いやいや、ケイちゃん想像してくださいよ。
He's basically just like, hey, just don't suck, alright? Just do it. No way. Think it through, Ki-chan.
ケーキを割り箸で食べるなんて、食べてる方も見てる方も美味しそうに見えると思います？
Do you think nearby onlookers will think cake looks delicious if they see people eating it with chopsticks? That's true. It would look out of place, and it seemed like a sad sight. But Shion made a valid point when she said plastic forks and paper plates would be too expensive.
あ、それならクレープ生地にくるんじゃうってのはどうですか？
Oh, then what if we wrap the cake in a crepe?
でも汚れないし、
Crepe
ケ
cake.
ーキと一緒に食べてしまえるからゴミもそんなに出ませんよ。
Then they can eat it with their hands without making a mess. Plus, won't leave behind any garbage. Shion and I turned toward the voice coming from close by. Several waitresses had gathered beside our table at some point.
ごめんなさい、口を挟んで。
Just butting into our conversation. I'm sorry for interrupting.
でも、せっかく私たちも参加することだし、アイデア出しに協力させてもらえませんか？
But we're going to be participating in this too, so shouldn't we help contribute ideas?
いえ、それは大助かりですが。
No, random waitress. If you don't have a Sprite, you're out of this conversation, alright? Oh, no, I appreciate the help, but
皆さん、お仕事は大丈夫ですか？
don't you all have work to be doing? Look who's talking.
今は私たち休憩中ですから。
We're on break at the moment.
もしできれば閉店した後にでもみんなでどんなものを出したらいいかいろいろ話し合いたいんですけど。
And if you don't mind, we'd like to discuss even more about what we can contribute. Let's say after closing time?
どうですか、店長？
What do you say, boss?
いいのか？
You really okay with that?
綿流しは3日後で期間もほとんどないんだが、手伝ってもらっても。
You want to help out even though we only have 3 days to prepare before Watanagashi?
ええ、
Yeah,
文化祭みたいでとっても面白そうだし。
sounds fun, like a school cultural festival.
それに園崎さんの思い人のためとあればね。
Plus, we're doing it for Sonozaki-san's sweetheart, right, everyone? The waitresses all smiled and nodded to one another. Shion immediately turned so bright red, it looked like she was steaming. What for?
誰が思い人ですか？
Oh, whoa, who, sweetheart?
それは私の姉、
You're thinking of my sister.
汚い園崎。
Filthy Sonozaki.
こっちは綺麗な園崎です。
I'm the pretty Sonozaki. Wahahaha.
園崎姉妹を両天秤とは豪気な男だな、前原君。
Dirty old man. Maibara-kun, you're a brave man to be balancing the scales between both Sonozaki sisters.
ぜひとも茜さんと戦って勝利を勝ち取ってくれ。
Feel free to fight Akane-san to claim total victory.
あ、いや。
No thanks. The store manager hit me with a full-strength pat on the back and went into a fit of laughter as soon as he heard that. It's almost out of the page. Then I coughed with his patting, which stopped my breathing for a moment, while the waitresses all started arbitrarily gazing at me in excitement.
よーし、
Had trouble reading that. Alright.
せっかく参加するんだ。みんな、今後綿流しといえばエンジェルモートってなくらいに思いっきり盛り上げてやろうじゃないか。
Everyone's going to contribute. Let's make Watanagashi so exciting that Angel Mort becomes synonymous with it.
もし売り上げが祭りの最高額を達成したら特別ボーナスもつけてやるぞ。
If sales break the festival record, I'll even throw in a special bonus.
やったー。
Woohoo!
そして一番売り上げた子には俺と一緒にディナーにご招待だ。
And whoever makes the most sales gets to go out to dinner with me. No, thank you.
いえ、それは遠慮し
Ah,
ま
I
す。
got it. Predicted it. No, thanks. Got his ass.
たくましいでしょ。
Always so strong-minded, huh?
うちのウェイトレスって。
That's what I expect from our waitresses.
たくましいんじゃない。ずぶといんだ。
That's not just strong-minded. That's bold. These cute-faced waitresses were merciless.
あ、そうだ、シオン。
Oh, right, Shion.
これ返しておく。
Let me give this back to you. It's a fucking menu that we've seen so many times. After we finished our discussion and the store manager had to leave for a meeting in town, I pulled out Takano's scrapbook and sat it down on the table in front of Shion.
へえ、もう読んだんですか？
Wow, so you already read it?
で、どうでした？感想は。
So how was it? What did you think?
どうもこうも
Well,
口頭向けというか本当にとんでも本の類だな。
should I say it's nonsense? It's a totally ridiculous book. To be honest, I don't think I gained much from reading it. Most of the article clippings and notes inside were speculation or unfounded fabrications.
お社様が宇宙人？
Oh, Shiro-sama is an alien?
しかもウイルスをばらまいて村人を支配？
Controlling the villagers by spreading a virus?
そして古出家の人間を崇拝の対象にして君吉家と園崎家がそれを講演しながら信仰の薄い者にはたたりをもたらす？
And the Furude family is worshipped with the support of the Kimiyoshi and Sonozaki families while also cursing the non-believers?
なんていうか全て推論ばかりでわけが分かんなかった。
How do I put it? It's all such wild speculation, it makes no sense.
そうでしょうね。
I feel the same way.
私もちょっとだけ見ましたけど、まあ無責任な立場から好き勝手書いてるもんですから、途中からバカバカしくなりましたよ。
I gave it a bit of a look too, but, well, it felt like it was written from an irresponsible point of view, so it seemed ridiculous by halfway through.
人体実験とかウイルスの研究に生きた人間をサンプルとして使用しているなんてのはちょっとオカルト雑誌っぽくて面白かったですけどね。
Though the stuff about humans as test subjects for virus research was amusing, like something from an occult magazine.
シオンはどう思う？
Shion, what do you think
たたりについて。
about the curse?
どうとは？
What do you mean?
たたりの何に関してですか？
Do you have something to say about the curse? I told Shion the deductions I explained to Rika-chan about the curse the other day. I wanted to know what she thought about the incident with the Furude family 2 years ago.
結論から言いますとね、
To get right to the point,
園崎の関わってる可能性はゼロだと思います。
I think there's absolutely no chance the Sonozaki family was involved. Shion arrived at the conclusion quickly. I was amazed that she was able to give such a decisive answer without any hesitation.
まず1点目、
The first problem,
信仰対象への畏怖心を強めるのであれば、園崎家が古出家の人間を手にかけるわけがない。
if the goal is to strengthen faith and worship, there's no reason for the Sonozaki family to eliminate the Furude family.
次に2点目、
The second problem,
この村の支配力はダム工事の5年前から園崎家だったことを考えても、古出家からの簒奪を企んだ陰謀とは考えられない。
when considering the power the Sonozaki family had since the dam project, it's unthinkable to imagine that they could enact a conspiracy to usurp the Furude family.
最後に3点目としては、古出家を手にかけることで本来闇の部分である園崎家の暗部を警察に探られることにもなりかねない。
And finally, the third problem, by investigating the death of the Furude family, the police could be able to uncover some of the dark history that pertains to the Sonozaki family.
この3つから園崎家が古出家に敵対する意味がないんですよ。
Based on those 3 points, I can safely conclude the Sonozaki family would not act against the Furude family. Shion shrugged her shoulders and said she learned all that from talking with her sister.
でも実際このたたりに対する畏怖心のおかげで園崎家の求心力は高まったんだろう。
But the truth is, the strength of the Sonozaki family has grown exponentially thanks to fear of the curse, right?
だったらあながちメリットはなかったとは言えないんじゃないか？
In which case, can you really say there's no merit to the idea?
そうですね。
That's true.
でも同時に園崎自身の身動きも取りづらくなった。
But at the same time, it's made it harder for the Sonozaki family to move.
最近の園崎家は内緒ですよ。
Sorry, I was distracted there. And recently, the Sonozaki family, this is a secret, okay?
お姉の話だと、近い将来近辺の高速道路建設を受けて村全体を変えようとしているそうです。
According to Sis, they're planning to completely transform the village sometime in the near future by constructing a highway nearby.
でもたたりの所在のおかげでそれを公にできない。
But thanks to the curse, they can't reveal that to the public.
もしも事故があったりしたらすぐにたたりのせいにされてしまいますからね。
If any kind of incident were to happen, people would immediately blame it on the curse.
最悪の場合、園崎が第二の北条家になる危険性もはらんでいるんです。
In the worst case scenario, there's even a risk that the Sonozaki family could be seen as the second Hojo family. I see. Being persecuted by the villagers as the traitors that brought disaster to the village, huh? In a feudalistic society like this, it's simple for a tiny hoax or rumor to fundamentally alter your life.
ということは、ひょっとしてこのたたりのシステムを生み出したやつはこのひなみ沢の環境が変化することを望んでいない。
In which case, whoever created this cursed system doesn't want the circumstances in Hinamizawa to change.
だから村人の行動を無意識のうちに縛り付けているってことか。
And the villagers are unknowingly supporting that goal. Is that what you're saying?
そうですね。
Right.
高野さんの理論は突拍子もない話ばかりですが、案外この連続事件の裏にあるもの、もし偶然じゃなかったら一筋縄ではいきそうにないですよ。
Takano-san's theories are just crazy stories, but if the series of events isn't just a coincidence, we'll have a surprisingly hard time taking the wraps off.
確かにな。
Certainly. The more I listened to Shion, the more it seemed like this conspiracy wasn't a personal thing for Mio Takano. In which case, does that mean this Tokyo organization has some large-scale stake in this?
それはそうと、ちょっとリカちゃまのことで気になる話を。
By the way, there's something I noticed about Rika-chama and... Suddenly, Shion leaned forward like she remembered something, then shut her mouth and looked to the side. Then, after making sure the customer walking near our table continued passing by, she quietly continued.
さとことリカちゃまなんですが、
It's about Satoko and Rika-chama.
週に一度くらいの割合で入江診療所に通ってるそうなんですけど、ケイちゃん知ってましたか？
Ki-chan, did you know they're apparently going to the Irie clinic about once a week? Oh no, a dumb person would say that their HIPAA laws are being violated or something.
いや、初めて聞いた。
Huh? No, this is the first I've heard of it.
どこか具合が悪いのか？
Are they not feeling well?
さとこから聞いたんですが、
I heard from Satoko.
どうやら新薬の実験のアルバイトをしているようですね。
They're apparently working there part-time to test some new medication.
監督が薬剤の投与によるデータを逐一取っているそうで、かれこれもう3年近くも続けているらしいです。
The coach is apparently collecting data whenever the drugs are administered. This has been going on for over 3 years now.
それで当面の生活費とかを稼いでるって言ってました。
She said that's how she's been able to afford her living expenses. Taking experimental drugs to cover living expenses. I always thought they were getting by with the help of Mayor Kimiyoshi. Anyway, what's this new drug? Rika-chan did tell me that she was cooperating with the coach to help him study Hinamizawa syndrome, but this was the first time I heard about Satoko being involved. Plus, she sees Mio Takano as an enemy, so why would she be cooperating?
その話、誰かに言ったか？
Have you told anyone else about this?
いえ、まだ誰にも。
Huh? No, not yet.
ケイちゃんが初めてです。
You're the only one, Ki-chan.
じゃあしばらくここだけにしておいてくれ。
Then let's keep it that way for a little while longer.
ミオンにも黙っていてほしい。
I don't want you to tell Mion about this.
それは構いませんけど。
I have no problem with that.
いいんですか、兄さん？
But are you really okay with that, brother-in-law? Don't say
今から
that.
恋女房の妹と秘密の共有なんて先が思いやられますよ。
You think it's okay to keep secrets from your beloved wife, but share them with her little sister? Ha ha ha, got him.
なんでそうなる？
Why do you have to be like this?
冗談ですってばもう。
Just kidding, okay? This is no time for jokes, Shion. Just then, the older waitress who suggested the crepe solution earlier came walking over to our table from the coat closet.
すみません先輩。
Oh, sorry, senpai.
そろそろ業務戻りますから。
I'll get back to work in a sec.
そうじゃなくて、
No, that's not why I'm here.
園崎さんに電話よ。笠井さんって人から。
There's a phone call for you, Sonozaki-san. From someone named Kasai-san?
笠井から？
From Kasai? Shion dubiously tilted her head as soon as she heard that name. Then, she said, sorry, it'll be just a minute, and headed in the direction of the coat closet.
そろそろ時間かな。
It's about time to head out anyway. We're gathering for a Wadnagashi planning meeting at the Furude Shrine grounds later today. Now that we've settled discussions about the food stalls, maybe I should pay up and head out once Shion comes back.
ケイちゃん、大変。
Ki-chan, this is terrible! Just then, Shion came rushing back with a tense look on her face. Sensing that it was unusual, I had a bad feeling and stood up to prepare myself.
どうした？シオン。
Shion, what's wrong?
間宮里奈が。
Rina Mamiya was... Realizing how startled she was, Shion took 2 deep breaths to calm herself down and sort out her tangled words and feelings. Then her face turned pale as she squeezed the words out.
Mamiya Rina ga
Yeah.
殺されたそうです。
Rina Mamiya was apparently murdered.
今、仏が上がったって。
Her body was just discovered. What? I immediately gasped and couldn't breathe. Even though we put in so much effort to keep her alive and prevent Teppei from moving here from Okinomiya.
まさか
Don't tell me.
先に言いますが、園崎は違います。
Let me come right out and say the Sonozakis are not involved with this.
葛西は奴を脅しましたが、頃合いを見て別の店に移すつもりだったそうで、手は出してません。
Kasai said that he did threaten her, but he was just planning to transfer her to another bar later. Shion was able to foresee my suspicions and spoke in a low voice like she was giving me a stern reminder. Then, who on earth?
ゲイちゃん、そんなことよりもサトコです。
But more importantly, Ki-chan, we need to focus on Satoko.
リカちゃまは家ですか？
Is Rika-chama at home?
いや今日は綿流しの打ち合わせだから集会場のはずだ
No, there's a Wadnagashi planning meeting today, so she should be at the assembly hall.
電話番号は
Do you know the phone number?
わかります。すぐに。
Yes, I'll call right away. I kind of forgot since the last stream or two that the whole idea, obviously as the dominoes are falling, was that, alright, even though she sucks, we need to, like, keep this Rina person alive so that Teppei has no incentive to move back to Okinomiya, or to here, to then protect Satoko. It's like a chain of cause and effects. As soon as Shion said that, she rushed back toward the coat closet to make a phone call. Not Okinomiya. To Hinamizawa. I don't know why I mixed those two. As soon as Shion said that, she rushed back toward the coat closet to make a phone call. There were quite a few customers still in the store, but she paid them no mind. I think I said Okinomiya because we're currently in Okinomiya. I was just thinking location names. Satoko. Oh no. Has she already been taken away?
すまない。
Excuse me.
え
Huh?
今、君たち、リカちゃんって。
Why is he here? Just now. Did I hear you mention Rika-chan? I was desperate. I didn't think about anything else. Didn't care about anything else other than searching for her. Oh no, Satoko! Satoko! I shouted desperately. Passers-by looked at me as though something was going on. The usual elderly people asked me if something was wrong. But I didn't look back. I couldn't afford to talk to them. The way they stared at me in confusion felt unpleasant at the moment. Please, Satoko, if you're there, please answer me! My throat hurt. My knees were sore from when I tripped and fell earlier. But more than that, my heart ached. Please. Man, Rika in distress is always very sad to me. I'm begging you, please be safe. I think why is because we're so now, especially this far into the Higurashi series, like we're so used to the cool, calm, and collected kind of version of Rika, where she lowers her voice and she's very calculated and she's very like she's never like caught off guard necessarily a lot of the time. She just kind of like, for lack of a better term, kind of rolls with whatever's happening, and obviously, but like the few moments where we get like young sounding Rika in distress, it's always like upsetting to me. I'm begging you, please be safe. It was the worst possible timing. I was with her just before. I prayed from the bottom of my heart, kept on praying whether it was to God or not. Even in this world, I had a feeling. It was Satoko's turn to run errands, but just today I was hesitant to let her go. I couldn't put the reason in words, but as I watched Satoko prepare the shopping basket, a strange sense of anxiety emerged from within my heart. This feeling, I've experienced something similar in a previous world. When Teppei came back and took Satoko away. Yes, I'm certain it was just like that. Or this. I did work with Kichi and the others to think up the best way to keep Rina alive. Thanks to that, she was confirmed to still be alive on the day she was supposed to die, and even the day her corpse would have been discovered. There are only 3 days until Wat Nagashi. Even considering past examples, it shouldn't have happened at this point, and yet, the premonition I hated most was coming true. And today, Satoko had a slight fever, like a summer cold, so told Satoko to rest.
子、今日はお使い、僕が代わりますのです。
Satoko, I'll take your place for the errands today,
だから家で休んでてもいいのですよ。
so you can stay home and rest.
大丈夫ですわリカ。
It's alright, Rika.
もう頭痛も抜けてきましたし、ちょっと外を歩く方が気分も良くてございましたよ。
My headache is already letting up, and I'll feel better after taking a stroll outside, won't I?
無理をしてはダメなのです。
You shouldn't overdo it.
やり合いが終わったら僕が買い物に行きますから、おとなしくしていてくださいなのです。
I'll go shopping after the meeting is over, so just stay home and behave yourself.
心配性でございますわねリカは。
Stop being such a worrywart, Rika.
ですけど最近連日打ち合わせと練習で忙しいリカにそうそう負担ばかりはかけられませんわ。
You've been busy lately with meetings and practice every single day. Can't force such a heavy burden on you.
いいのです。
It's fine.
気にしなくてもいいのです。
Please don't worry.
だから
Please don't worry about it. So,
それに最近ようやくブロッコリーとカリフラワーを区分けするやり方を発見したのでございますのよ。
besides, I recently discovered a means to distinguish broccoli and cauliflower.
今度こそ間違えずに買ってきてリカに笑われないようにしてみせますから
Adorable.
楽しみにして遊ばせ。
I'll buy the correct one this time, so you won't have to laugh at me, Rika. Look forward to it. Oh, ho 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 ho.
さとこ、
Satoko. Satoko grabbed the shopping basket without listening to my complaints, then left the room and bolted down the stairs. I was still worried, so I looked down from the window and saw Satoko waving at me as she hopped on her bike. Sheesh. Her mischievous innocence was amusing, so I suddenly let out a sigh while waving back at her, and the unpleasant feeling caught in my heart seemed to slightly dissipate as I watched her pedal off. It seems I'm overthinking it. I must be feeling oversensitive because I'm thinking too hard about how to explain Takano to Tomitake and Irie. Satoko is always safe by this point in time, so I should focus my attention on Takano and the others. With that in mind, I decided to get changed and head to the Watnagashi meeting. Idiot, 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 idiot. You total idiot. Huge beads of sweat came dripping down my forehead. My breath was running at full speed, and I noticed a smell of blood in the back of my throat. I leaned forward and throttled my legs while trying to keep my breathing under control. My legs were trembling down to my feet from my lack of strength, but I wouldn't stop. It was after I got up during the meeting to go to the bathroom, when I was on my way back. Some of the elderly people were off in a corner with their hands held together, mumbling a spell to prayer for their own safety. I could hear them talking.
女性の死体だって？
A woman's corpse.
なんでも沖宮の繁華街の従業員らしいね。
That's what they say, and it seems she was an employee in the downtown area of Okinomiya.
アパート裏のドブ川に落ちていたって。
She fell into the drainage canal behind the apartments.
まだ日は経ってなかったそうだが。
It hasn't even been a full day, but...
泥を喉に詰まらせて窒息死って話だが。
Oh god. They're saying she had mud clogged in her throat, and she died of suffocation.
自分から飛び込んだって言うじゃろうが。
Are you saying she jumped in herself?
一体何を考えてそうしたのやら。
What on earth was she thinking? After hearing that, all the blood in my body froze in an instant. Couldn't even move. It was like I stopped breathing. Something dark was spinning round and round, swelling inside my heart. I lost all the strength in my legs and immediately collapsed to the ground.
リカちゃま、
Rika-chama,
大丈夫かい？
are you alright?
ないこんな話をこの場所で話すか。
Honestly, this is no place to be talking about things like that.
外で話したらええんじゃ、このバカだれ。
You should really discuss this outside, you morons.
リカちゃま、大丈夫じゃね。
Don't worry, Rika-chama.
ちいと若い衆がしょうもない噂聞きつけただけじゃき。
It's just that the young guys heard some meaningless rumors. The elderly people seemed to think I was shocked to hear such a cruel story and rushed over to try and cheer me up. But their words didn't reach my ears. My heart was overwhelmed and filled with despair. Why? Why is this happening again? Was I betrayed, even after discussing things with Kasai and Shion? Or is this telling me that this fate is predetermined?
そうだ、サトコ。
That's right, Satoko. When I came back to my senses, I used all my strength to stand up and leave the room. Then, I looked at the self-defense tool above the shoe rack by the front door and shoved it into my pocket. and then I loosely threw my shoes on while sliding the front door open. Rika-chama! I heard someone calling me from behind, but of course, I was afraid to waste any more time dealing with them, so I left the assembly hall without looking back. I was wheezing and out of breath as my lungs and throat tightened up. Both my sides were in pain, like I was being squeezed by a vice. I no longer had the strength to wipe away my overflowing sweat, and my chin... not chin. and my thin clothes were uncomfortably clinging to my body. Is it happening again? Could I not find an answer even after all that searching? Am I going to taste that same despair once again? Can't stand it anymore. Enough is enough. What's so fun about Satoko and I being thrown into despair? I'm sure she's already gone. I'm sure she's already been taken away, and that's why I can't find her even after looking this hard. Why didn't anyone help her? Why didn't anyone stop this? I've always thought this in the previous worlds. Why does everyone in Hinamizawa have to treat Satoko Hojo so coldly? Satoko. Ah! Oh no, she fell again. My tired legs got tangled and I ungracefully fell to the ground. A housewife walking nearby approached me and offered help, and I raised my head to menacingly look back at her. The housewife had a bewildered expression on her face as she looked down at me. These hypocrites are always looking at me with sympathetic eyes. If you have the time for this, why don't you tell me where Satoko is? Knowing how desperately I've been searching for her, can't you tell how serious things are? This space may be big, but there's no way that someone here didn't see Satoko and Teppei. Please, anyone tell me. Tell me where you saw Satoko. If she's safe, it's fine. If someone protected her from Teppei, I'll dedicate my life to paying them back. Or even if that's not the case, if anyone here knows anything about Satoko, say something, I'm begging you. Rika-chama? I looked up. It was a lady from the vegetable shop. She always offered me a discount, but not to Satoko when she was alone. I don't like people like that, who completely change their attitude depending on who they're interacting with. And then, the lady looked down at me with sympathetic eyes and spoke to me. You had better not get any more involved with that Teppei Hojo. Oh, this fucking lady. You've seen Satoko, right? I rose to my feet and edged in closer to the lady. And when I saw how she awkwardly broke eye contact, I was even more convinced. Teppei was here, right? Why? Why didn't you stop him? Why? I'm terribly sorry. Really? If you feel the need to apologize, couldn't you have at least tried to hide? What? Then, I noticed. The vegetable shop behind the woman's back was a wreck. The shelves on the table where the vegetables were normally stacked were completely trashed. Some of the tomatoes were crushed and the road was stained red. It seemed the reason they had far fewer vegetables than usual was because the rest had been damaged beyond salvaging. I could see a lightly soiled cabbage in the cardboard boxes stacked in the corner of the store. And, looking more closely at the woman's legs, they were blue with bruises from being kicked. It took me only a moment to think of who could have done that. I took a look around. The old man from the dried goods store had tattered clothes, and the young man from the liquor store was holding his cheek. Everyone here. All of them fought to protect Satoko. And yet here I am, letting my emotions run wild, screaming, yelling, and doubting them. I'm sorry. I deeply bowed my head from the bottom of my heart. I was about to harass them just like that bastard Teppei. No, not just that. To think I'd be reduced to this after talking all big to Kechi and the others they about mustn't doubt anyone. And that they mustn't feel the urge to kill. Rika-chama. We are humbled, Rika-chama. I walked over to apologize and comfort me, but I flashed them a bright smile, then turned my back and started walking. The whiplash there. In my heart, I've decided. I never wanted to come here again. To Satoko's real house. The Hojo house. This house has been vacant since Satoko and I started living together last year. At first, Satoko periodically came back here to pick up seasonal clothes and daily necessities, but Satoko had already brought most of her stuff over, so she finally stopped coming back here. For Satoko, this house is nothing but a sad place that reminds her of her painful life with her aunt and uncle, and Osatoshi, so she never wanted to be nearby. But my reason for hating this house is a little different. That's because whenever this house comes up, I know what kind of world this is. However, I came here with a different feeling than I had in the previous worlds. I have a single goal. Yes, a single purpose. The window on the second floor of the Hojo house was open. Maybe the other windows were open for ventilation because the soot-stained curtains inside were swaying. This is the same situation as the previous world, but this time, my knees weren't shaking at all. An unfamiliar motorcycle was parked beside the house, next to the drying futon and laundry. Unmistakable signs of life. Evidence that someone was living in the Hojo house. And who was living there? Didn't even need to ask.
Rika?
Rika?
Satoko.
Satoko. Satoko apparently noticed me when she came to pick up the futon.
Rika?
Oh, Rika. Satoko kept her head hung low, like she was trying to hide her sadness behind a smile. It was painful just watching. And it wasn't just the expression on her face that looked painful. Don't look away. Burn the sight into your eyes, Rika Furude.
Satoko, こんなところにいないで、お家へ帰りましょうです。
Satoko, you shouldn't be here. Let's go home. Just grab her. Just kidnap her. Reverse kidnap. I reached for Satoko's hand, but Satoko left her hands hanging and deeply hung her head.
Rika?
Hey, Rika.
私、今日からこっちの家で暮らそうと思いますの。
I'm gonna be living in this house starting today. That song again. The same words I'd heard in past worlds. Worlds that I never wanted to hear again came out of Satoko's mouth.
私のおじさんが帰ってきましたの。
My uncle came back.
それでこっちの家で一緒に暮らそうって話になりまして。
So, I need to live with him now, in this house.
それは里子の本心なのですか？
Is that how you truly feel, Satoko?
鉄平と住むことあなたが望んだのですか？
Do you really want to live with Teppei?
でもどうしようもありませんわ。
But there's nothing we can do about it.
リカの家帰っても連れ戻されるだけですもの。
Rika, even if I go back to your house, he'll just bring me back.
リカに迷惑がかかってしまいますわ。
That'll just make trouble for you, Rika. She had a sad smile of resignation. Just like a year ago, this was the Satoko of 1982, and the same Satoko I saw in the previous world. The same scenes, the same conversations were repeating over and over like a broken record. The cheerful Satoko that I was living with until just yesterday was already gone. After this, Satoko will be terribly abused by her uncle. Still, it's possible to save her and escape this crisis with Kechi's help. But these events happened long before Wat Nagashi last time, so even though we were able to rescue her and play together at the festival back then, this time the festival is only the day after tomorrow. Which means Satoko won't be able to participate in Wat Nagashi this time. Satoko energetically romping around with a cheerful smile on her face. That pleasant sight. That joyous moment. That mental image warped and turned gray, sinking into the darkness. My heart started to ache like I was drowning as I helplessly watched.
Satoko!
Satoko!
なんねおったらかん
You're slacking off!
どこ行きよんねん
Where'd you go? I could hear his filthy, angry voice. Satoko's shoulders trembled, and she stared off into empty space.
なんじゃ踊りは
What are you doing? Suddenly, that man was standing behind Satoko.
なんでもありませんの。
Nothing.
お友達と会っただけですのよ。
Just that a friend came to visit.
したらんどうでもええんねん
I don't give a shit.
それよか風呂け磨かんかい風呂け
A bathtub still needs scrubbing.
わしは風呂に入りたいしちゃったなこら
How do you expect me to take a bath like this? Satoko continued trembling and quickly started to rush back inside like a frightened little animal scurrying into a corner. The miserable sight of her back squeezed at my heart, so I...
待って、里子。
Satoko, wait. Huh? Oh my god, I would love if Rika just attacked Teppei right here. She's like, we're not even wasting any time. Satoko was trying to enter the house, but she stopped and looked back when I called out to her.
遊びの約束だったかい
Did you have a play date lined up?
すまんのちょいとさとこはうちの片付けで忙しいんよ
Sorry about that, but Satoko's a little busy cleaning the house today.
わしはさとこのおじなんね
I'm her uncle.
ちょっと長いこと出張に出とってん
I've been away on a business trip for a long time.
ようやくひなみ沢に戻ってきたわけなんよ
But I'm finally back in Hinamizawa. What are you saying? What do you hope to accomplish by deliberately telling a child like me such a pack of lies? Or does this man truly believe his poor reputation in Okinomiya hasn't made it to Hinamizawa?
出張
Business trip?
どこに
To where?
あ
Ah,
んなこと関係ないじゃろうが
that doesn't matter.
初めて知ったわ
This is the first time I've heard of it.
同居人の女性の家でゴロゴロするのが出張っていうのね
Was it the sort of business trip where you loaf around doing nothing at some other lady's house?
あ
What?
あ何抜かしとんじゃこら
What's with you flapping your gums like that? Could you imagine being laughed at by a tiny child like this? Just calling you out on your deadbeatedness? How laughable. How incredibly stupid. The man in front of me looked so idiotic that I burst into laughter. His dialogue fit a single pattern like words on a stamp, no exceptions. I was wondering if he'd be able to speak a little differently, but it's always the same words and the same attitude. It's so consistent. It's even more pathetic than it is stupid.
おら
Listen up!
ダメったらぶちかましたるぞこら
I'll kick your ass if you dare disrespect me. Teppei seemed totally inflamed because he completely forgot that he was dealing with a child and grabbed me by the collar. The front of my collar tore under the momentum, but when my eyes stared directly at the ugly beast approaching me, my heart remained surprisingly cool. Had this come just a little earlier, my response probably would have been the worst possible choice. I'm sure that even if I quietly walked away, Kechi would be able to save Satoko. He gained the support of his friends, classmates, other villagers, and even the Sonozaki family through his strong leadership and actions, and he appealed to the Okinomiya Child Consultation Center. And even though Satoko had been suffering for a while, the passion and trust Kechi and the others showed her allowed her to regain the courage to speak up and defy Teppei. It's a miracle that actually happened in a previous world. And even in this world, there's a good chance that Kechi will be able to do it again. So at first, I was planning to just wait it out. Rika!
やめてくださいませおじさま
Please stop, Uncle!
リカは関係ありませんわ
Rika has nothing to do with this.
じゃかしいわ
Shut your trap!
さっさと風呂沸かせんかこの
Hurry and prepare that bath already.
リカ逃げて
Rika, run!
早く逃げてくださいませ
Hurry! Get out of here! The Satoko desperately clung to Teppei's legs while crying and begging for forgiveness. Looking down and seeing her like that, I felt really grateful for how much her kindness had saved me up until now. Satoko. I'm sure she's still suffering from that fever she had earlier today, right? Yet she was forcibly taken away and ordered to do housework. But despite that, she's still more worried about me than herself. She's willing to cover for me now, even knowing full well what's in store for her later. So,
しゃらしやこの
you brat!
逆らうんか
You're going against me, huh? Ooh. So, I'll fight. Oh, what's this music? Ugh! Oh, it's what I thought. Oh man, Rika's actually doing a thing. Alright, Teppei wildly thrust me away and reached for his eyes. Then he collapsed to the ground, uttering loud noises with a runny nose and filthy tears dribbling down his bright red face. I rushed over to Teppei, grabbed him by his slimy hair, and sprayed even more of the pepper spray into his eyes. Teppei desperately tried to close his eyes, but the spray went up his nose too, irritating his mucous membranes and forcing disgusting tears and snot to come running out. The sneezing and pain were so bad he couldn't even lift his head. So that spray sound effect, I thought when I first heard it, I thought it was like a slashing sound effect. I was so caught off guard, and then I was like, oh, wait. Oh, it's just pepper spray. Alright. My eyes! Ugh. He desperately rolled around on the ground, going into a wild rampage trying to keep me away. But compared to my fight with Shion so long ago, an attack of this caliber was mere child's play. I carefully timed it so I could kick Teppei in the face the moment he turned his head this way. I'm aware that kicks from a scrawny little girl don't have a lot of power behind them, but it's totally a different story when they manage to hit a vital spot. As luck would have it, the edge of my left foot struck Teppei in the bridge of his nose, and that man flipped over and crumpled on the spot. Satoko, let's go! Rika! It's like, this is all well and good, but he's gonna, unless they kill him outright, unless this is like a trap. My only thinking is maybe this is like a trap. If they get into like a public area or lead him in a direction where it's like someone else of authority can see this man attacking children, maybe that's the idea. That's my only thought here. Satoko stared bewildered at my outstretched hand. Satoko was both surprised to see me fighting back and confused to see the object of all her fear, Teppei, mercilessly suffering with pepper spray all over his face. Now, hurry! While Teppei can't move. Rika, I'm glad that you feel this way, truly. However, you probably think that enduring this is necessary to atone for Satoshi and to become stronger. But nobody will be happy with that. It won't save anyone. Not even Satoshi. What comes from being so tolerant, so patient? You probably think Satoshi is gone because you didn't work hard enough before. But Satoshi didn't work as hard as he did just to continue enduring this. He kept on fighting bravely because he wanted to protect you. Rika. Didn't you see it right before you came here? The people you thought were treating you coldly up until now stood up and tried to protect you from Teppei. But you didn't want to be a bother for them, so you followed this man without resisting. But you know, it's never a bad thing to bother someone to ask for help. What you really shouldn't do is to turn away from the feelings and the effort of the people who risk themselves fighting on your behalf, right? Satoko, please remember. You should still remember it. That image of your brother standing up to adults alone to protect you. Now picture another courageous brother, gathering immense strength from absolutely nothing in order to save you. After all that, are you still going to continue ignoring the people who never gave up and have been thinking so hard about you until the very end? Satoko Hojo? Satoko, we're about to come save you. If you admit that you need help, even the mayor of Shishibone City will support you. Heh, crazy, isn't it? It's all thanks to the Sonozaki family. Mion's grandma's doing all of this for you. This music in the background during this is intense. It's so funny. Satoko always felt bitter toward the Sonozaki family because they were often the ones talking about her behind her back. She hated Oryu most of all. It didn't make sense to her that Oryu would do anything to help her.
冷たくする奴らがいたのは事実だ。
I know you went through a lot of hard times after the dam conflict.
俺は鈍感だから気づかなかったが、里子は毎日そういう人たちの冷たい目線に傷つきながら生活してきたんだよな。
I didn't notice it, but you were being treated coldly for a long time.
でもな、そんなのは全部俺たちがぶち破ってやった。
But I took care of all those people for you.
もうひなみ沢には誰一人お前のことを見捨てようとする奴はいない。
No one will ever treat you badly in Hinamizawa again.
お前に見せられないのが残念だぜ。今俺たちを応援するためにひなみ沢から200人以上の人が集まってる。
I wish I could show you all the people that gathered around the child consultation center right now.
明日の綿流しの祭りの準備を放り出してお前を助けるために相談所へ慎重に集まってくれてるんだよ。
Everyone from Hinamizawa is here to save you. They're even skipping the preparation for tomorrow's festival.
思い出して。
Try to remember.
手を伸ばすのは助けを求めることじゃない。
Reaching hand out isn't the same as asking for help. Together.
こと。リカ。
Rika. She timidly uttered that, with hesitation still in her heart. Nevertheless, Satoko listened to what I had to say and slowly began walking towards me. Just a little more. Just a little more, and she'd be in reach. I couldn't hold back my feelings, so I took a step forward and held my hand out to her. And Satoko extended her hand in return.
おっと
Whoa!
どこ行くんじゃねえ
Oh.
さとこちゃん。
Where do you think you're going, Satoko-chan? I suddenly gasped and my whole body froze. Right before my eyes, Satoko was being grabbed from behind by a man with log-like arms. And she tensed up with a bewildered look on her face.
おうやってくんなよ小娘が。
Oh, no you don't, some little girl.
なんなら一緒に遊ぶか。
You wanna play together?
ああ
Oh!
てっちゃんに手向けるとさすがお社様の使いだね。
An offering to Tetchan, eh? Now that's Oyashiro-sama's messenger for you. One by one, 3 strong, uncouth men came out of the front door and greeted me with nasty smiles. One of them had grabbed Satoko and wouldn't let her go, while the other 2 cracked their knuckles and moved in to surround me. No way. No way, he already invited his friends over to the house? But thinking it over for a moment, it seemed perfectly natural. Considering what a nuisance he was in the village and his rampage while kidnapping Satoko in the shopping district, it's easy to assume he had called over a few like-minded good-for-nothings for self-defense. Look at all those, dashes. I don't know why I noticed that. It was my mistake for not accounting for that. I regret acting so impulsively. I should say hyphens, right? Not dashes. At the very least, I should have waited for Kechi and the others before taking action.
リカ、避けて。
Rika, look out! Take that! I did my best to shield my head from a sudden kick from behind. Ooh, kicking a little girl. Not good. I took an intense kick to the side and was knocked away. I fell to the ground and the jolt of pain running through my entire body was almost enough to make me faint. You brat! You seriously think you can make a fool of me? God damn it. Does this guy not even realize his opponent is a child? Is it a lack of common sense, or has nobody taught him a thing about morals? I quietly cursed them as I stood up on shaky legs. Pain coursed through my body and my whole head was ringing. Rika!
やめて、もうやめてくださいませ。
Stop it! Please stop!
ああ切れたてっちゃんは止められんからの。
Nuh-uh. When Tetchan goes berserk, there's no stopping him.
しかし大丈夫か。
But are you sure this is okay?
あれでも村の守り神じゃの。万一の時は問題になるぜ。
You're dealing with the guardian god of the village. Won't there be problems if things go bad?
ま、やばくなったらその前に止めなよ。
Well, we'll stop before it gets too dangerous.
リ
Rika!
カ、逃げて、早く逃げて。
Run! Hurry up and run away! I could vaguely hear Satoko crying out from behind the vulgar men's conversation. Having said that, this was a dangerous enough situation that my consciousness was already fading out, and I almost lost it. Satoko, sorry. Only after enduring this did I finally understand. I should have known what a dangerous situation you were in. Although for a moment I tried to wait and see, watching for an opportunity. Even though it may have already been too late. Even though I can't reset time this time around. even if I regret my choices. How pathetic. Truly pathetic. I just looked away from the worst case scenario. I didn't confront it at all. To think I failed to understand that until I was in your position.
あ
Huh?
じゃあまだやる気か
What's that? Still want to keep going?
本当にぶち殺されたいかおら
You seriously want to die?
お願いですおじさまおじさま
Please, Uncle! Uncle!
リカを許してあげてください
Please, please forgive Rika!
お願いです私ここに
I'm begging you right here. Jesus. Don't say anything, Satoko! Satoko turned her tear-filled face this way when she heard my bloody cry. Then, slowly shook my head, trying my best to smile and comfort her. Rika!
とね私はあなたを助けることができないって諦めていた
For the longest time, I'd given up, thinking there was nothing I could do to help you.
でも今は違う
But now, it's different.
意志に強さがあれば運命なんて関係ない袋コーチだって突破してみせる
Fate means nothing as long as you have the strength of will, so we can burst right through this dead end.
そしてその意志に基づく行動が全てを開くの
And as long as we're willing to take action, we can open the door to anything.
その証拠をあなたに見せてあげる私が
I'll prove it to you. Right here, right now. Right. At last, I realized it's not just power of will that pulls us toward the best possible fate. It requires the effort to put those strong feelings into action. So, I won't run away. I'm going to save Satoko. And in order to do that, I won't let these guys destroy my happiness.
折れるもんか
I'll never give in.
私はサトコを連れて帰るんだ
I swear, I'm gonna bring Satoko home.
じゃっとほら
What'd you say? I won't run away anymore. So, let me your strength. On you. God. Keiichi! Nice.
な
What? But crash. Something came flying from behind Teppei at tremendous speed. He was completely caught off guard and couldn't avoid it, so he took a direct hit and was knocked away. The object that struck Teppei was a bicycle, and riding that bike was...
ごめんリカちゃん待たせた
Sorry to keep you waiting, Rika-chan. Keiichi! I was so elated that I leapt towards him, but my legs were in bad shape, so I fell into Keiichi's chest. And then tears came overflowing from all the pain and fear I'd kept locked away all this time.
遅いのです
You're late.
もう少し空気を読んでほしいのです
Try to read the atmosphere a little better.
僕が大怪我したらケイイチはどうしてくれるのですか
What would you do if I had gotten seriously hurt?
悪い本当にすまなかっ
Damn, he's trying his best. Sorry, I'm really sorry.
たでももう大丈夫だ
But it's alright now.
サトコは俺たちが守ってみせる
We'll protect Satoko. Just watch. Then, Keiichi pulled me tighter into his chest while turning toward the trio that had captured Satoko.
多くは言わん
I've got one thing to say to you.
サトコを離せ
Release Satoko.
それとも地獄を見てみるか
Unless you want to witness hell. Oh, what a hard thing to say right there.
あ
Huh?
あ何も言ってるなこんがきゃ
You got a smart mouth, punk.
聞いてもうてるか
You got a death wish, huh?
ガキ一人で俺らに何できると思っとんじゃ
What do you think you can do against us alone, you brat?
俺ただけおっちゃら覚悟せや
Get ready for some broken bones, kid. Ha!
生きがるなコッパ
Keep trying to act cool, you worthless thugs.
女の子の背中に隠れてでなきゃ偉そうなことも言えないのかこの臆病者が
How can you grandstand while hiding behind a girl's back? You cowards!
徒党を組むのは悪党の上等だが人質なしだと喧嘩も売れないたとことん見下げ果てた奴らだぜ
It's customary for scoundrels to work in groups, but if you can't pick a fight without resorting to taking hostages, you're completely despicable.
な
What?
なんじゃとら
What'd you say? The three of them were trying to make threats, but when the situation turned around on them, they got angry. Then, one of the men decided to take advantage of their superior numbers and lash out at Keiichi. Oh yeah! Prepare to die!
遅い
Too slow! What?
遅い遅い遅い遅い
Too slow, too slow, too slow, too slow!
レナのパンチに比べたら一人スローモーションの超三流コント並みに止まって見えて間抜けだぜ
You idiots. Your third-rate attacks are too like a slow-motion performance compared to Rena's punches. But Ukechi dodged the attacking man's log-like arms by a hair's breadth, then slammed his elbow into the man's stomach in a surprise attack. The beautifully executed blow had his full body weight behind it, so the man screamed and became entangled with Ukechi, causing them both to fall down. You bastard! I'll fucking murder you! You son of a bitch! Suck on this! No thank you. Not going easy on you anymore! The man Kechi had attacked and Teppei, who had finally gotten back up, both cowardly joined together with the others to surround Kechi. This is bad. If Kechi is being attacked from the front, back, left, and right all at once, there's no way he can resist. Shit. Kechi! Kechi! Even using all my strength to help him, I couldn't even move my legs, let alone approach him. My frail little body's so disappointing at times like this. Before long, Kechi took a hit he couldn't avoid, and his body curled up in pain. Then, he took a kick from behind, and Kechi finally collapsed to his knees. Stop this already. Please stop. Kechi-san, run away! Seeing the terrible disadvantage Kechi was in, Satoko cried out and reached her hand out to him. But her body was being grabbed by the remaining man, so she couldn't do anything more than struggle. Keiji-san, Rika, that's enough, that's enough! Please, leave me and run away! No more. I can't take it anymore. Please, don't hurt the two of them anymore. Leave me here and... Believe in us, Satoko! When Satoko couldn't bear to watch anymore and cried out demanding surrender, Kechi turned to her and his eyes... Kechi turned to her with his eyes open wide and shouted back. Seeing Kechi's unending courage and hearing his strong voice despite the danger of the situation caused Satoko to be taken aback. Satoko, listen, we decided we want to help you. This isn't someone else's will or destiny, or even because you asked for help. I don't want to see you getting hurt any more hurt, and I don't want to comfort myself saying that you'll be rescued someday. So, we've come to the decision that we're going to save you right here now. Keiichi-san. Satoko. Even if you continue to endure this, God is far too busy to help, so miracles won't happen so easily. God is not going to save you. Plus, even if I find a drowning person like you, my hands are only so long, so I can't reach you unless you extend your hand too. Oh, what a metaphor. So don't give up. Reach your hand out from there. I won't give up. My desire to help you will never waver. So Satoko, please show us your courage. Show us the strength of your will. Friends are people who live up to your trust, right? We're your friends, right? Keiichi-san. Keiichi-san. Try to remember. Reaching a hand out isn't the same as asking for help. Together, we'll fight. Satoko. At last. Oh shit, the music intensifying. Yes, Satoko finally reached a decision. She raised her head, and then bit the arm of the man who was holding her. And when the man loosened his grip in pain, she rushed toward Teppei, who was surrounding Kechi, and barreled into him with her entire body. Holy shit. What? Satoko! I won't give in. Satoko quickly got back on her feet and stared face to face at Teppei, who was getting upset about the unexpected counterattack. The light that her eyes had lost until a moment ago had finally returned, and it was shining bright. I won't lose to you. I will not lose to you. I hate you, and I swear I'll never lose to you. What? Letting his anger take control, Teppei mercilessly swung his arms at Satoko. But Satoko's greatest weapons were her small body and high agility, so she was able to dodge easily. Then, taking advantage of Teppei losing his cool, she quickly bent down and tackled his right leg the moment his center of gravity shifted away. Yep. Caught completely off guard, Teppei fell down on the spot. However, Satoko was also thrown off balance in the process and rolled to the ground along with him. Serves you right, you out-of-shape, middle-aged man. A super effective diss there. What'd you say? Teppei screamed in rage while swinging his fist. The fearful Satoko of a moment ago would have gone weak at the knees, but she was able to quickly dodge it. And when his center of gravity shifted away from the bottom of his feet for a moment, she grabbed one and tried to trip him. No. What? Teppei stumbled to the ground as Satoko looked down at him from above. Now, their situation was completely reversed. Oh, ho, 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 ho. They say the weaker the dog, the stronger its bark. And you're a perfect example of that, dear uncle. Loudmouth brat! You ingrate, you murdered your parents! What? Satoko completely froze up the moment she heard that. Oh no, that's the one thing that should absolutely never be said. Where'd you get all talking all high and mighty, huh? You bitch! You dumped your parents in the river for their money, didn't ya? Stop it! I used every last ounce of my strength to rise to my feet and lunge towards Teppei, but my pathetically weak advance ended with me being thrust away and rolling to the ground near Satoko. And behind my battered body, Satoko was crouched down, shivering and clutching her head. I endured the pain and desperately rushed over to Satoko to hug her. Satoko! You don't have to remember. He's talking nonsense! When I raised my head, I noticed Teppei's hideous form looking down at us. Just die already! Oh, stop right there, Teppei Hojo! Huh? Is that our knight in shining armor guy? Just then, for a moment I thought the voice I heard was hallucination. No way. It can't be. It's completely unreasonable to expect that he would come to a place like this. Satoko! I heard Shion cry out and sensed her rushing over to my side to embrace Satoko. But more importantly, I had to confirm that voice was still lingering in my ears, so I timidly looked up. Rika-chan! Rika-chan! And looking back in that direction, he was rushing toward me. It can't be. Can I really believe this? I can't let this be an illusion. As I knelt there like that, he held me against his chest with his big arms to protect me. Kasuka? I came to help.
Rika-chan. 大丈夫か?
Rika-chan, are you alright? Akasuka! I always wanted to see you. You were the first person I turned to for help. And now, you're finally here. You finally come, and at a time like this.
遅れてごめん。
Sorry I'm late.
もう安心していいか。
You can rest easy now.
赤坂
Akasaka. Akasaka. The guy, the man, the myth, the legend. I cried out, then jumped into Akasaka's chest and sobbed. And then he stood up, still holding me to protect me, and spoke to Teppei in a dignified voice, even as that man's sweat-soaked face was quaking in fear.
北条哲平。それにその一味だな。
Teppei Osho and his co-conspirators.
警察だ。
This is the police.
麻薬取締法違反の容疑。および傷害の現行犯でお前を逮捕する。
I've come to arrest you on suspected violation of narcotics control laws and for this flagrant display of violence I just witnessed. What? That's kind of what I was saying, right? I mean, maybe it was not planned, but if they could just show that some adults were beating up children, and just the right person happened to like catch it, right? Then they'd be in trouble. What? On that cue, the policemen in the surrounding area all jumped in at once to seize the men. Their faces warped in shock and fear when they realized how quickly the situation had turned to their disadvantage. So, they desperately turned their backs and scrambled toward the forest behind them. Halt! Don't let them escape! Many policemen were chasing after them, and before long I heard a few screams. Feeling relieved to see this whole situation unfold, all the pain I was holding back suddenly returned to me. I collapsed to the ground.
大丈夫か、リカちゃん。
Rika-chan, are you alright?
僕は大丈夫なのです。
I'm okay.
それよりもてっぺを追わなくていいのですか？
Anyway, are you sure you shouldn't be going after Teppei?
ああ、それは大石さんたちの仕事だから。
Yeah, that's Oishi's job.
ですよね。
Isn't it? No!
赤坂さん、私のセリフを取らないでくださいよ。
Akasuka-san, please don't steal my lines.
警視庁の人間に地元の犯罪者を逮捕する権限はないでしょうが。
The Metropolitan Police Department doesn't have the authority to arrest local criminals, do they?
しかも麻薬取締法違反って令状もないのに嘘言っちゃいけませんよ。
And what's more, you don't even have a warrant. Can't be telling lies about violating the Narcotics Control Act.
それって
Me, then... I stared bewildered at Akasuka as he looked back with a wry smile on his face. So in other words, that was just a bluff.
警官が嘘をつくなんて日本の警察もおしまいなのです。
If policemen are telling lies, the Japanese police department's done for.
でも反応したってことはあながち白ってわけでもなさそうだな。
But, judging by the way they reacted, it doesn't seem far from the truth.
大石さん、念のために家宅捜索を。
Oishi-san, you should search the house just in case.
だから令状もなしでできませんって。
Like I'm saying, can't do that without a warrant.
あなた本当に国家公務員ですか？
Are you really a government official?
調書で辻褄を合わせれば何とでもなりますよ。
You can do anything as long as it adds up in the police report.
違いますか？
Am I wrong about that? No.
あなたしばらく会わない間に随分狡猾になりましたね。
You've gotten awfully shrewd in the time since we last worked together.
熊ちゃん、せっかくだから何人かを中に入れて調べさせてくださいな。
Kuma-chan, please gather some people to check inside.
了解っす。
Roger. The detective he called Kuma-chan acted on that order and took another 3 people inside. Over by the front door, Kechi was lying on the ground looking completely exhausted, and Shion was hugging Satoko while shedding tears of relief.
大丈夫ですか？ケイチ。
Keiichi, are you alright?
ああ、
Yeah,
これくらいはへでもないぜ。
this is nothing. Kechi forced a smile while wiping the blood from his lips. After seeing that strong, encouraging look on his face, I was finally able to smile. But, that same moment...
サトコ
Satoko?
どうしたのサトコ
What's wrong? Satoko! Uh-oh. Shion's tense shout brought me back to my senses. When I looked that way, Shion was supporting Satoko's head in her arms, while she muttered something over and over. She was trembling and shaking her head repeatedly with a vacant look in her eyes.
違う
That's not true.
私じゃない
It wasn't me.
私は何も
I didn't.
サトコ
Satoko.
サトコしっかりしてサトコ
Satoko, pull yourself together. Satoko. Oh no, she's losing it. Fate of an outlaw tip. Oh. Get me in there. I finally stopped when I could no longer hear the footsteps and angry shouts of the police. My whole body was already drenched in sweat, not just my feet, but all the muscles in my entire body were trembling. Not only that, but my lungs were as hot as a raging fire. Felt like they were about to burst. Shit. Felt dizzy. I'd already thrown up while on the run earlier, but a lump of air welled up in my throat like I still had more to vomit. I felt like total crap. My pants and other clothes looked absolutely miserable, caked with mud, sweat, and vomit. Shit. Damn it. Things ended up like this because of that pest. She can't do anything worth a damn, yet she called up some annoying punks, defied me, and even got the police involved. I'm sure they already told the police about the drugs. I'd even kept it hidden from Ritsuko until now, but it all fell apart thanks to that bitch. I was able to get by before with no evidence of violence or extortion, but this drug is different. I'll definitely get thrown in jail for 2 to 3 years. Fuck you. I'll kill you. I'll swear I'll kill you when I come back.
無理よ。残念ね。
So sorry, but that's impossible. What? Oh shit, I heard a cold voice coming from behind and quickly turned around. There stood a woman with a dry smile on her face. This chick. Yes, that's right. She's that nurse from the Irie clinic.
ちょうどいいわ。行きがけの立ちんじゃ。おとなしくせんね。
Perfect timing. You'll get your reward for coming here. Be quiet now.
あら、私をどうするつもり？
Oh, what do you intend to do with me?
決まってんね。お前は札から逃げおせるまでの人質じゃ。
Ain't it obvious? Gonna use you as a hostage so I can ditch the cops.
つくづく生まれの卑しいやつってのは考えることまで浅ましいってことね。
This low-born man is too shallow to even think it through. What's with this woman? Even though I was standing right in front of her holding a huge knife, she didn't budge. In fact, her icy smile seemed to get even colder as she carefully stared at me with her eyes open wide, walking up to me in slow motion like she was just taking a barefoot stroll. Yes, like a carnivore peeling back its fangs and stretching out its nails, a cruel, menacing atmosphere seemed to leak from her entire body. Am I being threatened?
止まらんね。これが目に入る。
Stop! I'll stab you into your eyes. I'll stab this into your eyes.
入らないわね。そんな大きなもの。
It's
も
too
っとも。
it's too big to fit in there. Although, damn.
この鉛玉ならあなたの目の中には入るかもね。
This lead
試
bullet,
してあげましょうか。
this lead bullet might fit into your eye, though. Shall we give it a try? Damn, damn.
もう終わり？ただの威嚇射撃なのに勝手に気絶しちゃって。
Oh my. It's over already. You fainted from just a few warning shots.
楽には死なせてあげないわよ。不愉快なことを思い出させやがって。
I won't let you die that easily. You bring back unpleasant memories. Got his ass. Got his ass. Let us go on.
もう心配いりません。
There's no need to worry.
容体は安定しましたよ。
Her condition has stabilized. Irie removed the stethoscope from his ears while looking back at us with a smile. I was finally able to release the tension accumulating inside me and collapsed on the spot.
リカちゃん。
Rika-chan.
リカちゃま
Rika-chama. Keshi and Shion, who were standing on opposite sides of me, knelt down at almost the exact same time to check on me. I tried to show them a smile, but there was no hiding the dense sweat spread all across my face.
他にベッドは
Is there another available bed?
隣の診察室にあります。こちらです。
Right this way. It's in the next room over. On that verbal cue, Kechi scooped up my body. Then, after leaving Irie's exam room, he laid me down on a bed in the exam room next door. Nakasuka gently laid a comforter down on me.
監督、リカちゃんの怪我の具合は？
Coach, how is Rika-chan doing?
レントゲンは取りました。
We've taken x-rays.
骨に異常がなかったのはせめてもの救いです。
Thankfully, there were no abnormalities in her bone structure.
しかし、あの鉄平という男はどうしようもないやつです。
But that man named Teppei is such scum.
こんな小さな女の子に容赦なく暴力を振るうなんて。
To think that he resorts such merciless violence against a little girl.
僕が逃げたらサトコに向いていたのです。
If I had ran away, Satoko would be the one in this shape.
代わってあげられてよかったのですよ。
So, I'm glad to have taken her place. I put a hand on Irie's tightly clenching fist as I said that. It gave him a beaming bright smile. He looked a bit embarrassed and tried to adjust his glasses when he saw that, then spoke apologetically.
サトコちゃんが我慢して言わなかった分、私は彼女の境遇を過小評価していました。
I underestimated Satoko-chan's situation because she's so patient and speak up.
正直ここまでとは。
To be perfectly honest, I never thought it'd be this bad.
もしも放置していたらと考えると恐ろしくて体に震えが走ります。
Just the thought of what might happen if she were left unattended is enough to make me shiver. Indeed, it was terrifying. Satoko suffered violence in the previous worlds, but we were always looking at it from a distance, so we never knew just how severe it was. So, all I could do was watch as she was broken, unable to help her. Compared to her back then, this pain of mine was no big deal.
それで鉄平は
So, what about Teppei?
あの後どうなりました？
What happened to him?
沖宮署の大石さんがかなりの人数で行方を追ってくれているそうです。
Oishi-san from Okinomiya Station is leading a considerable number of officers pursuing him.
北条家を家宅捜索したところ、非合法の薬物も多数発見できたようなので、傷害以外の余罪でもしょっぴいてみせるって息巻いてましたから。
He empathetically said they found a variety of illegal drugs when they searched the Hojo residence, so they can nail him for more crimes than just this act of violence.
できればもっと早く尻尾掴んで捕まえてもらいたかったけどな。
I wish they could have found evidence and arrested him sooner, though. I felt the same way, but I'm sure Oishi gave Teppei line enough on the suspicion that he would be the target of the curse at this year's Watanagashi, especially after Rina's murder. So they might think it's better to close their eyes to these lesser crimes and avoid arresting him. And yet, why are they taking action here? It's a good turn of events, of course, but it concerned me a little. Rika-chan.
こんな状況だけど、いいかな。
Considering the circumstances, are you sure you're okay? Kasuga moved his mouth close to my ear and whispered that to me. When I heard that, I faintly nodded to him and used my arms to sit upright. My head still hurt a little, but I wasn't about to say it.
リカちゃま、まだ寝ていても。
Rika-chama, maybe you should get some rest.
今日高野は休みなのですか？
Is Takano out today?
え、ああ、もう帰られましたね。
Huh? Oh, she already went home for the day.
それが？
Did you need something from her?
僕は大丈夫なのです。
I'm fine.
それよりもサトコの様子を見てきてほしいのです。
But more importantly, I want someone looking after Satoko.
一人ぼっちだとかわいそうです。
It's sad that she's all alone now.
わかりました。
Understood.
シオンさん、行きましょうか。
Shion-san, let's get going. If Takano is out, then there's nobody looking after Satoko at the moment. With that in mind, Irie gently beckoned Shion and then left the exam room. Shion looked painfully reluctant as she followed behind him. Kasuka, Kichi, and I were the only ones left in the room.
カロ
Who is he?
ケイイチは僕の協力者なのです。
Kichi's my partner.
浮気相手なのですよ。ニパー。
My adulterous companion. Nippa!
浮気って。
Adulterous?
あ、まだ自己紹介してませんでしたね。
Oh, I haven't introduced myself yet.
前原圭一です。
I'm Kichi Maibara. Kichi lightly bowed his head as he said that. After a brief glance at that, Kasuka turned back toward me. I silently nodded to him, and then he turned back toward Kichi and answered him while extending a large hand out to him.
警視庁公安の赤坂です。
I'm Kasuka of the Metropolitan Police Department, Public Security Division.
ちょっと待ってもらえるかい？
Oh, could you hold on a second?
あ、はい。
Sure. Kasuka stood up as he said that, then pulled something resembling a black walkie-talkie out of his breast pocket and held it up to the corners of the room. And after checking all four corners, he set a chair in front of the door and came back this way.
一体何を？
What are you doing?
申し訳ない。
Sorry about that.
この部屋が盗聴されてるかどうか、一応調べておこうと思って。
I had to make sure this room isn't being wiretapped.
職業柄、一筋縄ではいかない相手とばかりやり合ってきたもんでね。
Thanks to my job, I'm used to dealing with people who don't play by the conventional rules. Kasuka shrugged his shoulders and put the black object away. So he has a wiretap detector on hand right now, huh?
リカちゃんの協力者ということだから、信用して話す。
Since Rika-chan considers you her partner, I'll trust you with what I'm about to say.
ただ、これからの話は誰にも内密にしておいてほしい。
However, I'd like to keep all this strictly confidential going forward, alright? Kasuka set a folding chair down right in front of Kichi, so close that their knees were practically touching, then turned to him. He must have endured some extreme situations over the last 5 years to make him this dauntless. Kichi looked strained by that pressure, of course, but immediately gave him a powerful nod.
まずは、そうだな。
So, first of all,
リカちゃんと私が知り合った馴れ初めの話からしないといけないかな。
I should start with the story about how Rika-chan and I got to know one another.
奥さんに言いつけてやるのですよ。
I'm gonna tell your wife you said that. I spoke up without thinking, but immediately started to regret it. Kasuka's wife was fine in the previous world, but what happened in this world? However...
そうだな。
Right.
命の恩人とはいえ、今度は私が刺さるそうだ。
Even though you saved her life, you're going to stab me this time? Kasuka's cheerful laugh completely blew my unease away. Thank goodness. Guess she's safe in this world too. Then, Kasuka explained to Kichi how the two of us met 5 years ago. Kasuka was sent to Inamazawa by the Public Security Division of the Metropolitan Police Department during the Dam opposition movement in an effort to determine the whereabouts of the kidnapped grandson of the Minister of Construction. Then, Kasuka was able to rescue the minister's grandson from the kidnappers, and afterwards, I confessed some of the truth to him. It was not a short story, even in summary, but Kichi listened all the way until the end with an earnest expression on his face.
それで、赤坂？
So, Kasuka,
あなたはどうしてこのひなみ沢にまた来てくれたのですか？
why did you come back to Inamazawa?
休暇だよ。
I'm on vacation.
このひなみ沢を数日観光した後は、和倉温泉に向かって夫婦水入らずでのんびりする予定。
After a few days of sightseeing in Hinamazawa, my wife and I are planning to go to a private hot spring in Wakura.
ということにしておいてくれ。
At least, that's the story.
それって。
Huh? What do you mean?
本来なら秘密事項だが、状況が状況だ。
It's technically confidential, but desperate times call for desperate measures. Kind of wild that, like, obviously, important thing happening, and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna tell these two children about this situation.
心して聞いてほしい。
Please keep that in mind as you listen. After that preface, Akasuka began telling a story that surprised even me. politician's wife.
主人はね、ずっと日本のためにと身を粉にして働いてきたんですのよ。
My husband worked so hard for this country.
それなのに
Even so.
奥さんの胸中深くお察しします。
Madam, I understand what you're going through. This wasn't really anything out of the ordinary. Nobody could remember if there had been a donation or not. So a handful of politicians were questioned. As a result, some came up with a scheme to blame a sickly, elderly man who had already retired. With only a short time to live anyway, he was the perfect fit for them. The elderly man had already been sick in bed, and the shock of his friends betraying him had taken away his will to live. The only thing his wife could do was to simply watch him suffer. She kept crying while telling the men about her husband's achievements.
ご主人の無実が間違いなければ、必ずや裁判官は正義の判決を下すでしょう。
If your husband is, in fact, innocent, a judge will rule accordingly.
大丈夫です。
Don't worry.
濡れ衣は必ず晴らせます。
All false accusations will be cleared.
そんなのは分かっています。
I already know that!
だって無実なんですから。
Because he is innocent.
でもね、判決が出るまで主人は持たないんです。
But he won't live to see the verdict.
お国のためにとあれだけ働いてきて、こんな気持ちで死ぬなんてあんまりじゃないですか。
He worked so hard for this country, and this is what he gets in return at the end?
あれじゃ死んでも死にきれません。
How can he rest in peace? Casca nodded and tried to find the right words to say to her. His colleague rummaged through a pile of paperwork behind him. The papers were filled with fine print, and it would be hard for an onlooker to tell exactly what they were. However, the way he was looking at them made it very clear that they contained something important.
赤坂さん、こいつはすごい資料です。
Casca-san, this is amazing.
金の動きが完全に網羅されてます。
This records exactly how the money was moved. Casca gave him a signal to remind him that this wasn't the place to be looking through those documents.
奥さん、
Madam,
この他には書類束のようなものはありませんね。
there isn't any more paperwork, is there?
主人の金庫に入っていた文書は
No.
それで全てです。
That was the only thing in his safe.
どうかそれで恩知らずな連中に一泡吹かせてやってください。
Please, use it to get back at those ungrateful bastards.
あれだけ主人に世話になっておきながら。
My husband did so much for them, and yet they... Oh.
奥さん、
Madam,
この文章の内容には一部ご主人にとって不利益な内容も含まれていますが、それはご存知ですね。
you do understand that some things in these documents will implicate him, don't you?
ええ、それは分かっています。
Yes, I understand that.
政治はね、綺麗事だけじゃないんです。
One can't be honest all the time when one is a politician.
私だって政治家の妻ですのよ。
I am his wife, after all.
ご協力を感謝します。
Thank you for your cooperation.
この書類は必ず巨大な不正を暴くために使用します。
I'll use this to expose the injustice that was done to him.
一つだけ、
Only one thing.
一つだけよろしいですか。
May I ask you just one more thing, though?
それを公表するのは主人が亡くなるまで待ってもらえませんか。
Could you wait until my husband passes away before making this public? The paperwork Akaska received was something her husband intended to take to the grave with him. Something that shouldn't exist in this world. If it went public, her husband's name would be disgraced. Casca nodded.
わかりました。
I understand.
誓ってお約束します。
You have my word. Vast public funds were moving from Kasumigaseki. The funds were issued to sub-branches to carry out national policies. But various ideas over those public funds always came together, and there was never an end to those trying to poke a straw into it to suck it out like a mosquito. Excess dividends, cordial patronage, profits for organizations that benefited themselves. Many financiers approached and adhered to officials and politicians hoping to earn those gains, and the bureaucrats constantly indulged them. That's how Japanese corruption works. These illegal pipes formed bypass after bypass in Kasumigaseki, siphoning off public funds for their profit. To find and destroy such pipes is, of course, in the national interest. But eliminating illegal expenditures isn't as simple as all that. There are important people connected to those pipes, and when those people are investigated, a major political scandal takes place. The reason why the government doesn't investigate such illegal expenditures is not only to protect vested interests, but also because they are conscious of the damage these scandals can cause politically. To put it more succinctly, the government can't endure the pain of pushing pus out of a wound. The closer the exposed subject is to the top, the greater that pain faced by the government. That affects the cabinet approval rating. The closer the subject is to the core, the more extensive the damage to the heart. The secret investigation Akasaka was leading went as close to the heart as it got. It could cause a collapse of the administration from shock. Akasaka was tipped off that a huge amount of public funding was leaking out through an organization revolving around a certain fixer, so he and his colleagues had been conducting a secret investigation into the matter for a long time. His target was tightly knit, but he learned the wife of one of the organization's senior members bore strong resentment toward them after her husband was made their scapegoat, and he managed to contact her. And because of that, he had gotten his hands on extremely important information.
みんなご苦労さん。
Good work, everyone.
だいぶ外堀が埋まってきたようだね。
We've almost gathered enough proof.
特に赤坂君が入手した資料は相当ショッキングなものだよ。
What Akasaka-kun brought us is particularly shocking.
ずいぶん苦労したでしょう。お疲れさん。
You must have worked hard to get it. Great work.
いえ。
Thank you. The small meeting room was filled with boxes that were, in turn, filled with documents. A whiteboard was filled with cramped writing, too. A few of the investigators in the meeting room, which was also filled with smoke, were reading the documents intensely. Their intimidating manner clearly indicated that they were police officers with a great deal of experience. Akasaka was one of those men. It had been a while since Mamoru Akasaka was transferred to this department. When he worked on the case of the kidnapping of Mr. Inukai's grandson, he had been a rookie, but by now he was an experienced investigator. After a knock on the door, an elderly man entered the room. Everyone straightened up all at once.
室長、お疲れ様です。
Sir, thank you for stopping by.
お疲れさん。
Thank you.
立たなくていい。楽にしてくれ。
You don't need to stand. You don't need to stand. Relax.
諸君に今日は素晴らしいプレゼントを持ってきたぞ。
I brought a wonderful gift for you all today.
カノ、お前を息子の授業参観に行かせてやる。
Kano, you'll get to go to your son's Parents' Day meeting after all. The meeting room was filled with sighs tinged with exasperation and resignation. It certainly wasn't because any of them hated getting to go to Parents' Day.
やっぱりな。
I knew it.
そろそろ頃合いだと思ってたんですよ。くそ。
I thought it was about time. Shit. Kasuka's colleague complained. They had been so close to getting to the root of this issue. They had such strong evidence. Kasuka, on his part, wasn't too disturbed. This had happened several times in the past, and considering how hot the documents he obtained were, it was easy enough to predict. The case was suddenly transferred to another department. That meant that their investigation ended here. The new department was supposed to continue the investigation to expose injustices, but that's never happened once before. It was just an excuse. The investigation had been terminated because of pressure from above.
くそったれ。
Damn it!
私たちが今日まで捜査してきたのは何のためだったんでしょうかね。
What about everything we've worked for so far?
海を出す痛みがどの程度か測るためだろうな。
It was just to see how much it hurt to push out the pus.
その結果、
Can they stop saying that?
痛みに耐えられない規模だということが分かり、
Aye.
荒療治を断念したってことだろう。
They realized it would be too painful, so they decided not to treat the wound. In that sense, their hard work wasn't wasted. Because of it, the investigation was terminated. Kasuka understood that, but his colleague wasn't yet mature enough to understand. Of course, Kasuka's sense of justice was displeased by this. He felt frustrated with his superiors, who had hesitated to expose the truth, but he was mature enough to know not to say that out loud.
資料の整理と引き継ぎについては、今後向こうと調整していく。
We'll organize what we have and hand it over to the other end later.
とりあえず、みんな長く休んでないだろう。
Unfortunately, I was drinking water during that. Okay. Anyway, since you haven't had a day off for a long time, you don't have to wait until 5 p.m. to leave today.
5時を待たなくていいぞ。
Please go
引き上
home.
げて体を休めてくれ。
Please go home and get some rest.
残務整理は明日話し合い。あと、振り替え休暇の消化をしよう。
We'll talk about what's left to do tomorrow. Also, don't forget to use up your vacation time, too.
ちゃんと消化して、神さん孝行しろよ。
Make sure to take a vacation and give a treat to your spouses.
主査は俺と来てくれ。以上だ。
Please come with me. That'll be all.
よし。
Yes, sir. Though his long secret investigation left a bad taste in his mouth with its resolution, he managed to earn a holiday until the next incident arrived.
じゃあ、室長のお言葉に甘えますかね。
Well, I guess we'll do as he says.
みんな、今日は早く帰って休みな。
Everyone, Go home and get some rest.
こういう時早帰りすると不倫の現場に出くわしたりしちゃうんですよね。
If you go home that early, you might find out your wife is having an affair, you know?
バカだな。お前知らないだろ
Dumbass, you don't know anything.
う。赤坂さんとこは熱愛夫婦だぞ。
Kasuga-san and his wife are madly in love.
毎晩別当の公衆電話からラブコールかけてるの知らないのかよ。
He calls her every night from a public phone in a different building.
赤坂のところはいいよな。
I envy you, Kasuga.
うちの女房なんてそりゃそっけないもんだよ。
My wife is pretty cold. Kasuga smiled bitterly as he gathered the documents in his hands. One of the pages fell to the floor. It was a page from a huge pile of papers documenting illegal expenditures. They exposed the illegal expenditures of the Alphabet Project, the research team for the next generation of hardware in the Defense Agency. It was entirely possible that this project was created in the first place for the purpose of funneling these illegal expenditures. When he saw the paper, one thing caught Kasuga's eye. He picked it up, looked at it, and tried to remember. It was a list of people who illegally received public funds. It was also a list of retirees who were still very much in love with money. There should have been no connection between those people and Kasuga. However, there was one thing that caught his attention.
入江診療所
The Irie Clinic. As soon as he said it, all sorts of memories resurfaced. Yes, the Irie Clinic. When he was working on the case of Minister Inukai's grandson's abduction, he got into a scuffle with the suspects and became injured. He was taken to the local clinic. As he recalled, the name of that clinic was the Irie Clinic. He started to remember one thing after another. His very first experience with wading into the muck. It was burnt into his mind like a fresh memory, and he could vividly recall everything that happened. His daughter was about to be born, and he really didn't want to go to Hinamazawa. He met Oishi, who taught him a lot of important things. He also met a girl in that village. Her name was... yes, Rika Furude. That was it. How long had it been? How old was she now? Look how tiny she is. As he remembered her lovely smile, he also remembered the ominous prediction she made. She had predicted that if he didn't go back to Tokyo, something terrible would happen. At the time, he took it as nonsense, but he felt something odd about it, as if it was a divine omen. Then, he had remembered Yuki, who was about to give birth. He became concerned that something terrible would happen to her. But he couldn't just leave and go back to Tokyo, so he called her right away, told her something would happen. He told her to be very careful until he returned. Yuki had laughed and told him he was being paranoid, but that phone call indeed saved her from calamity. Kasuga had found out about that when he visited her after returning to Tokyo. A few days after his phone call, a janitor was seriously injured when he stepped on a loose tile on the stairs on his way to the rooftop. He also learned afterwards that Yuki had a habit of going up to the roof for a walk every day, but because of his phone call, she had stopped doing it. If he hadn't called her, she would have been the one to step on the loose tile. In other words, Rika Furude's prediction had been correct. There was no proof, but Kasuga still believed that he was able to save Yuki only because of Rika Furude's prediction. He'd intended to call and thank her for saving Yuki, but the busy days that followed put it out of his mind. Rika-chan. He wondered if she was still doing well, she was still smiling. Kasuga remembered the sad prediction she made on that night under the moon, while still wearing that smile. That's right, she'd said something. She predicted someone would get killed on the night of the festival every year, and that on the 5th year in, she'd be the one to be killed. That's right, he thought. She did say that. The 5th year. That's this year. The festival is... that's right, it's in June. If you remember correctly, it happens on the last Sunday of the month. Kasuga looked at the calendar. It was June 1983. Although there was still some time, the death she predicted for herself was coming up. The girl who'd predicted Yuki's accident also prophesied the mysterious incident would occur annually for the next 5 years. If they'd actually been happening, then it would happen again this year. Kasuga wondered if Oishi was still at the Okinomiya PD. If the annual incident she predicted actually was taking place, he would know. In other words, he could confirm if Rika Furude was going to be killed or not with a phone call to Oishi. The girl who predicted her own death had muttered that she didn't want to die. Muttered? No, it was clearly a plea for help. A young girl who was trapped in the fathomless, bizarre traditions of a village she couldn't escape had sought help from him, an outsider. She paid his reward in advance in the form of foreseeing Yuki's accident. He had to get to her. He had to go save her. A flood of emotions filled him up. He felt as though he had finally remembered something he was never supposed to forget. That's right, he had to go to Hinamazawa. He had to save the girl who asked him for help.
というわけだ。
And that's the story.
上を説得するのにはかなり骨が折れたけどね。
It was pretty tough convincing my superiors, though. Kasuga shrugged his shoulders as he said that, and smiled to alleviate the tense air. I was moved to tears. Maybe he was putting it lightly, but I understood immediately. He must have gone through all sorts of bargaining, negotiations, and red tape before coming out here. I'm sure Kasuga, who was leading a very busy life as an elite member of public security, had no time to deal with an incident in a remote town. And there was no guarantee these allegations would ever come true, or even come true, so there'd be no shame in ignoring them. And yet, he was willing to do it.
覚えていたからね。
Because I remembered.
君が言っていた幸せに過ごしたいって言葉。
You told me you wanted to live a happy life.
赤坂
Kasuga.
あるいは一度は忘れてしまったのかもしれない。
Or maybe I forgot that at one point.
でもそれを忘れたらきっとものすごく後悔するに違いないんだ。
But I'm certain that if I did forget, I'd deeply regret it.
だからちゃんと思い出したよ。
So, I made sure to remember.
君が教えてくれたからユキエに電話してユキエが事故に遭わなかった。
I called Yuki after what you told me, and she was able to avoid having an accident.
だから君はユキエの恩人なんだ。
You saved Yuki.
だからその恩を私は今返しに来たんだ。
So I've come to repay the favor.
本当に長いこと忘れていた気がする。
I feel like I forgot for such a long time,
でもようやく思い出したよ。
but I finally remembered.
長いこと待たせてすまなかったね。
Sorry for keeping you waiting so long.
赤坂
Kasuga. Tears came spilling out, non-stop. They fell down to the ground. Such an encouraging speech. The words I always wanted to hear from Kasuga, that I had finally given up on after such a long time.
本当に長いこと待たせやがったです。
You really did keep me waiting for so long.
そしてこんな最後の最後の世界で
And in this final world,
本当に都合よく帰ってきやがったのです。
it's so fortunate that you really came back.
赤坂
Kasuga.
私は無条件で君の味方だ。
I'm on your side, no matter what.
君のどんな不思議な話も信じるよ。
I'll believe any crazy story you tell me.
そして君の命を狙うという敵を必ず打ち砕いてみせる。
And I promise you, I'll crush whatever foe is threatening your life.
赤坂
Kasuga. Hearing that, even though I thought that a world without Hanyu meant that the worst possible fate had come, his words managed to pierce right through it. I'm sure even Kasuga wouldn't understand, but I wanted to show him how much my heart was full of joy, gratitude, and hope, and also to Kechi, who had been warmly smiling beside me.
そろそろ潮時だな。
The time to fight has nearly arrived. I mustered my determination, then carefully told Kechi and Akasuka everything I knew about Miotsukushi and this Tokyo organization. And after finishing the explanation, Kasuga glanced back at the door behind him. Quite a lot of time had passed. I wouldn't be surprised if Irie and Shion walked in on this right now.
それでリカちゃん、
So, Rika-chan,
君は高野美代が怪しいと睨んでいるわけだね。
your suspicions are mostly directed at Miotsukushi?
疑っているというよりも
It's more than just suspicion.
確信なんだろリカちゃん。
You're certain of it, right, Rika-chan? I nodded with all my strength to confirm Kechi's interjection. Kasuga seemed dubious of that assertion and considered it for a moment, but my anxiety was soon dispelled by Kasuga's smile. How reassuring. I have two allies who will believe such a nonsensical story without any reservations.
となるとこの診療所のあの入江って医師からどう話を聞き出すかだな。
So, I guess the issue is how to get the details out of Dr. Irie at this clinic.
ひなみ沢症候群の研究の規模と資金から見ても高野はトカゲの尻尾だ。
In terms of the scale and funding into Hinamizawa syndrome research, Takano is just the tail of the lizard.
東京という組織が何を企んでいるのかを突き止めない以上、根元を調べて立たなければ別の奴が来てリカちゃんを消そうと考えるかもしれない。
Unless we can figure out what this Tokyo organization is really planning and take it down from inside, another person could come along and try to eliminate you, Rika-chan.
確かにこのたたりは誰の意図かは分かりませんが、無意識にこの村の人々を支配しようとする悪意があると思います。
Indeed. I don't know whose will this curse is following, but I do think it's being done to maliciously control the villagers without their knowledge.
それが東京だとしても、どういう意図で今年のたたりを引き起こそうとしているのか、それが分からなければ意味がない。
Even if it's Tokyo's will, unless we can figure out why they want to cause this year's curse, we'll never make sense of any of it. Between Akasuka's experience and Kechi's intuition, they did their best to uncover the mystery. Having felt like I was tackling this all alone the whole time, I was grateful to see this.
ともかくまだまだ情報が必要だ。
At any rate, we need more information.
引き続き調査してみるから、前原くんとリカちゃんも何か情報を手に入れたら私に教えてくれるかい？
I'll continue the investigation on my end, so, Maibara-kun, Rika-chan, please tell me if you learn anything, okay?
分かりました。
Got it.
任せてください。
Leave it to me.
赤坂、
Kasuka?
他にも東京との連絡係を務めている富武の協力も必要です。
We'll also need to earn the cooperation of a man named Tomotake, who works as a liaison to Tokyo.
特に彼の場合はこのままだと今度の綿流しの晩に高野の手で殺されてしまうのです。
It's especially important because Takano will personally kill him on the night of Wadanagashi unless we intervene.
それはどうして？
Why would she do that?
わからないのです。
I don't know.
でもこの殺人にこそ高野の黒い思惑が潜んでいるように思えるのです。
But I think something about Takano's shady intentions is lurking behind this murder.
だとしたら今度こそ助けなきゃいけないよな。
If that's the case, we need to help out this time.
マミやリナのようにしくじったらもう目も当てられなくなる。
If we mess up like we did with Rina and Mamiya, I can't bear to look.
そうなのです。でも
That's true, but be that as it may, I doubt that Tomotake would take the two of them seriously. And in the worst case scenario, there's even a chance he could leak information to Takano. The most ideal scenario would be for him to discover the details of this conspiracy on his own. So, what can we do to make this happen? That happen.
リカちゃん、
Then, Rika-chan.
ちょっと考えたんだけど、こういう手はどうだ？
I've been doing a bit of thinking, but how about this plan?
それは
What?
赤坂、本当にそれで大丈夫なのですか？
Akasuka, are you really okay with that? I immediately gasped at Akasuka's astonishing suggestion. Right beside me, Kechi's eyes were open wide in shock, and I'm sure I'm making the same face.
でもそんなことをすれば一緒に来ている奥さんだって。
But if you do that, then your wife who came all the way out here with you will...
大丈夫。
It's alright.
一緒に来ているのは本庁との連絡員だから。
A contact person from the main office came with us.
幸恵は実家で娘の世話で、身辺にも警護を入れているから問題ない。
Yuki is now at her parents' house taking care of our daughter, and they have personal security in place, so it won't be a problem.
赤坂、それでもあなたが危険に。
Akasuka, even so, this will put you in danger.
それに、さっきも言ったけど、リカちゃん、
Besides, it's just like I told you earlier, Rika-chan.
君は妻の命の恩人だ。
You saved my wife's life.
君の言葉がなければ、私は妻も娘さえ失っていたかもしれない。
If you hadn't spoken to me back then, I might have lost my wife and even my daughter.
だから今度は私が君に恩返しをする番だ。
So, it's time for me to pay you back.
信用してほしい。
I want you to trust me.
赤坂、
Kasuka. His eyes were shining bright and full of determination, feeling encouraged by those eyes that decided to accept his proposal. Failure is not an option. Any misstep will put not just myself at risk, but Kasuka as well. But I've already decided. I'm not going to hesitate any longer. I'll never give up. I'm going to grab hold of my happiness, no matter what it takes. I'm certain of it. The night was already upon us. The bruises on my arms and legs still hurt, but not enough to keep me from standing. In this condition, I'll probably still be able to handle my Wadnagashi performance 3 days from now. The villager elders rushed to the clinic as soon as they heard what happened to me. They were so worried and upset that they'd completely forgotten they were in a hospital and started making a huge commotion, so Shion and Kechi were having trouble calming them down. Apparently, all of them are going to search this village for Teppei tomorrow. I guess it's because they want to get even with him before handing him over to the police. When I saw that, I decided to ask Kichiro and the others to use it as a trigger to focus on protecting Satoko. I could see the same mixed feelings on everyone's faces, but Kechi and Shion turned to them and pressed for an answer. When people heard Rika-chan was seriously injured, so many people ran over to check on her. I'm very happy to see that, but I want everyone to consider this. If Rika-chan hadn't covered for her, Satoko would have been the one to suffer those injuries. I don't want anyone to think that it would be any more acceptable for Satoko to have been the one suffering this pain. If everyone was just a little more considerate and courageous, Rika-chama wouldn't have been seriously hurt. As much as all of you respect and cherish Rika-chama, did none of you ever consider that possibility? The elders couldn't say anything back, and after once again witnessing a tragedy that they turned a blind eye to, all they could do was hang their heads in shame. It'll still be difficult to win their support without Oryu's favor, but at this rate, Satoko will surely be able to gain an environment as comfortable as the previous world. And, speaking of her, I can only pray that she doesn't remember that memory when she regains consciousness. For now, I'll have to forget about Satoko. I need to do something about my own situation.
Yeah, Rika-chan.
Howdy, Rika-chan.
よく来たのです。ニパ
I'm glad you could make it, Nipa. Toмотake had just arrived and was climbing the stone steps in front of the shrine. Based on the camera in his hand and the bag on his shoulder, I could tell he had come directly from the Irie clinic. Just before leaving the clinic, I told Irie that I wanted to meet up with Toмотake.
僕に話ってことだけど、一体どうしたの?
I hear you wanted to talk to me. Something wrong?
富武
Toмотake?
富武2号について何か情報をつかんでいますか?
Do you know anything about Toмотake MK2? I opened the conversation by cutting straight to the main subject.
なんだよそれ?
Huh? What does that mean? Sure enough, Toмотake opened his eyes wide and tilted his head, unable to grasp the meaning of what I said. At any rate, the name Toмотake MK2 doesn't seem to have caught on. That's a little disappointing.
富武2号?
Toмотake MK2?
それは一体何のことだい?
What on earth are you talking about?
最近沖宮署に入った刑事のことです。
There's a detective that recently came to Okinomiya Station.
聞いていませんか?
Have you heard anything about it?
沖宮の刑事?
A detective in Okinomiya.
リカちゃん、それをどこで?
Rika-chan, where did you hear that? Toмотake was still smiling, but his eyes were carefully fixated on me. The mountain dogs have personnel within Okinomiya Station, so it seemed perfectly natural for him to know about it, but I guess he was surprised to discover that I knew about it. His expression told me that he couldn't figure out my true intentions.
赤坂は僕のお友達なのです。
Akasuka is a friend of mine.
5年前にここに来た時に仲良しになったのですよ。
We became close when he visited 5 years ago.
ああ、そういう意味か。
Uh-huh. Oh, so that's what you mean.
しかし5年前とはずいぶん前の話だな。
But 5 years is an awfully long time.
よく覚えてたね。
You have a good memory.
もちろんなのです。
Of course.
だって大臣の孫が誘拐された時にここに来ましたから。
Because he came here when the minister's grandson was kidnapped. Tomotake's expression completely changed. Of course, he likely already knew about the incident 5 years ago, but he probably had no idea that the detective here now was the same detective from back then.
ということは、あの刑事。
Which means, that detective
警視庁の公安です。
is from public security at the Metropolitan Police Department.
5年前にも大臣の孫を探しに来ましたが、今回は何を探しに来たのでしょうね。
He came here looking for the minister's grandson 5 years ago. But what could he be looking for this time? The smile on Tomotake's face had vanished without a trace, and he began looking more like an intrepid intelligence agent. In his head, he's probably thinking about ways to allocate his staff and about future investigations to address the situation.
富武
Tomitake?
東京の動きは今どうなっていますか
What's going on in Tokyo right now?
どうって
What?
いや別におかしなこともなく通常通りだけど
No, there's nothing strange going on. It's just like usual.
ちょっとだけ彼の話に出ていたのですが
Kasuga told me a little about this.
東京から流入している入江機関への資金の流れに疑問を持ったそうなのです
And he had some concerns about the flow of money from Tokyo to the Irie institution.
この明細について一度確認してもらいたいのです
I'd like you to look into this.
それはまあ数日中にでも可能だけど
Well, I might be able to do that in the next few days.
一体どうして
But why on earth are you asking?
僕たちへの給付が高野と入江に流れてるそうなのです
It seems that our payments are flowing through Takano and Irie.
最近の支払い額が減っていたのでおかしいと思っていたのですよ
I thought it was weird that our payments had recently gone down.
そんなバカな
What? That's ridiculous. Tomitake unpleasantly frowned when he heard that. One of the Tomitake's responsibilities is to oversee on how the funds are being used. But he was probably leaving them mostly alone thanks to their cordial relationship. Wasn't clear if he felt betrayed or couldn't believe it, but he was clearly very confused.
分かった
Understood.
とにかく本当だったら大変だ調べてみるよ
Anyway, this is a really big deal if it's true, so I'll check it out.
富武一つお願いなのです
Oh, Tomitake, I do have one more request. Tomitake had cut off the conversation and was about to head out, so I couldn't help but call out to stop him. When he dubiously tilted his head upon hearing me say request, I held my hands together and continued.
お願いなのです
Please,
この話は入江と高野には秘密にしておいてもらいたいのですよ
I want you to keep this conversation a secret from Irie and Takano.
どうして
Why?
僕たちは入江と高野にとてもよくしてもらっているのです
Irie and Takano have been treating us well.
まだ信じられないしひょっとしたらただの勘違いかもしれません
I still can't believe it, and maybe it's all just a misunderstanding.
だからこんなことで二人に嫌な思いをさせたくないのです
So I don't want you to make the two of them feel bad about this.
分かった
Understood. Now, I don't believe for a fucking second that Tomitake would not just go around and turn this info into Takano,
確かに
despite her
お金
pleas.
の勘違いでギスギスした雰囲気になるのは嫌だからね
I don't want to make things awkward over financial misunderstanding either.
安心してリカちゃんのそれが判明したら真っ先に知らせるよ
Don't worry, Rika-chan. If I find anything out, you'll be the first person I let know.
ありがとうなのです
Thank you.
よろしくお願いしますのです
I hope it goes well. I deeply bowed to him. When Tomitake saw this, his mood seemed to soften, and he spoke with a nice smile on his face.
任せて
Leave it to me.
それよりリカちゃん祭りの奉納は大丈夫かい
More importantly, Rika-chan, are you alright to handle the festival ceremony?
入江先生からもいろいろ聞いてるけど
Dr. Irie told me what happened.
大丈夫なのです
I'm alright.
ちゃんと最後までこなして富武にいい絵を提供してみせるのですよ
I'll do everything properly right until the end, so you go and take some nice pictures.
ニパ
Nipa!
それは楽しみだ
I'm looking forward to it.
当日は最前列でバッチリこのカメラに収めるから
I'll
頑
be
張
right.
ってくれよ
I'll be right up front with my camera, so good luck.
Yeah.
Anyway, see you later. Tomitake waved his hand with a cheerful smile on his face as he descended the stone steps. I sat down in front of the offering box. Keeping lies straight is far more exhausting than telling the truth. But there's no avoiding it. Otherwise, Tomitake would simply trust Takano and the others with no desire to investigate them. The first step is to make Tomitake suspicious of Takano. Then, if he's able to arrive at even part the truth thanks to this charade, Tomitake will prove advantageous in the future, and it might even increase his chances of survival. Build suspicion from everyday doubts. That's what Akasuka told me. Tomitake had consulted with Irie about the financial situation several times in the past. I do want to properly cooperate with you, but it would take far too much time to persuade the upper ranks. I remember Tomitake looked sorry every time he told that to Irie. That was caused by guilty feelings. It's so easy to pass on animosity by making someone suspect betrayal, and that's what he's feeling right now.
嫌なやり方ね
What an underhanded tactic. Portraying a nice, selfless guy like Irie as some greedy miser really does You're supposed to make my heart ache. Wait, maybe I'm dumb. Let me see. Portraying a nice, selfless guy like Irie as some greedy miser really does make my heart ache. Nope, it's make. It should really just be really does make my heart ache, or take out does, and then it's really makes my heart ache. Grammar lesson. But I have no choice but to play hardball. Tomitake will die on the night of Watanagashi unless he learns about his life-threatening situation soon. I looked up at the sky. A beautiful full moon. The shrine grounds in the dark sky were illuminated by the dim light, bathing the surrounding area in a mysterious atmosphere. Will I be able to see a moon this beautiful in the future? And Hanyu. Honestly, where did that girl disappear to? The moon wasn't going to answer that. I lingered there for a while, leaning back against the offering box and pouring the thoughts in my heart toward the sky. Moon. I think I got a hit with a BRB here for a few minutes. So give me... We'll let this load in. Is she still not awake yet? I'll read that line. Alright, I will be back shortly. Give me a few minutes. Gonna stretch. Go get some more water and stuff. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. I always like this this piano and the faint chorus, like. Alright. Kechi says, is she still not awake yet? Oh. Gotta click in. The coach sighed and shook his head, then turned his gaze downward. I could see Satoko sleeping in the bed next to him with a calm look on her face. For the past few days, it had become a daily routine to visit the clinic on my way home from school to check on Satoko. But Satoko never woke up. All he could do was hold her hand, clean her body, tell her about the things that happened at school, while she continued sleeping.
Hi, Kigae.
Here's a change of clothes.
Shion mo anmari muri shicha dame da yo.
And Shion, don't push yourself too hard, okay?
この部屋に泊まり込むのはいいけど、せめて睡眠はちゃんととっておかないとさ。
It's nice of you to stay here with her, but you need to get some proper rest.
大丈夫ですよ。
It's alright.
ちゃんと適度に自制してますから。
I'm exercising self-control and only doing things in moderation.
ただ、さとこが起きたら一番にからかってやろうとか考えたら、なかなか寝つけなくって。てへ。
But I'm looking forward to teasing Satoko when she wakes up, and thinking about that makes it pretty hard to sleep. Teehee. Shion shrugged her shoulders with a wry smile on her face as she said that. Her hair was a bit haggard and there were dark circles around her eyes. Even though she was skipping school, all the work preparing the Angel Mort stall at the shrine, combined with the multiple round-trip visits to the clinic, must have been both physically and mentally exhausting. Looking more closely, the coach seemed rather tired as well. According to Shion, he had been working day and night, taking blood tests to make sure Satoko's condition was improving. And he was doing all this on top of his daily workload, so we really admired his dedication.
残念だね。
It's a shame.
せっかく今日のお祭りはみんなで大騒ぎできると思ってたのに。
And I thought we could all have fun together at the festival today. Rina's shoulders drooped. Then, Rika-chan grabbed her hand and said Nippa with a smile on her face.
お祭りは来年にもあるのです。
There will be another festival next year.
ここで僕たちが暗い顔をしていたら、起きた時にさとこがきっと気にすると思うのですよ。
I'm sure Satoko will be disappointed in us when she wakes up as she finds all of us just waiting here looking sad.
リカちゃん。
Rika-chan.
そうだな。リカちゃんの言う通りだ。
Yeah, Rika-chan is right.
今日の祭りは盛大に騒いで楽しんで、サトコには手土産片手に報告。
Let's have a great time at the festival today and bring her a present when we come back.
これで行こうぜ。
Come on, let's go.
よし、ケイちゃんのそれ乗った。
Alright, I'm on board with Ki-chan's plan.
シオン、あんたも今日は主役でしょ。
Shion, are you ready for your starring role today?
園崎の系列店の晴れ舞台なんだから、しょぼい顔見せてたら承知しないよ。
This is a big moment for a Sonozaki-owned establishment, so you can't show up looking shabby.
誰がしょぼいですか。
Who are you calling shabby?
お姉じゃあるまいし。
If anyone, it's you, sis.
まあ、ケイちゃんの言うことにも一理ありますね。
Well, there's some truth to what Ki-chan says.
それじゃあ、ケイちゃん、覚悟してくださいよ。
Alright, Ki-chan, hope you're prepared.
ぼやぼやしてっと、そっちの叩き売りオークションのお客、全部かっさらっちゃいますからね。
Because I'm planning to snatch away all the customers from your auction.
おう、望むところだぜ。
Yeah, just what I was hoping for.
そっちこそ、後で吠え面書くなよ。
But you'll be sorry. Got it?
ケイイチくんとシーちゃんの一騎打ちだね。
It's a one-on-one battle between Kechi-kun and Shi-chan.
どっちが勝つんだろう。
Who is going to win? Who?
あ、
Who?
私は問答無用でケイちゃんだから。
Oh, there's no point in arguing it. It's obviously Ki-chan.
シオンの店なんか閑古鳥鳴いて赤字になっちゃえってか。
Sales at Shion's shop will be so low she might even end up losing money, don't you think? Smudge on my glasses. What did I do when I was on the BRB? Mion, aren't you totally contradicting what you said earlier?
それじゃあ私はここで
さとこちゃんを見ていますね。
Alright then. I'll stay here and look after Satoko-chan.
もし目を覚ましたら神社の祭り本部に電話をかけますから。
If she wakes up, I'll give you a call at the festival headquarters.
よろしく頼みますね、監督。
Thanks in advance, coach.
とりあえず私を呼び出すときは、園崎姉妹の綺麗な方って言ってくれたらマッハで出ますので。
And if you want to give me a call, please ask for the more beautiful of the Sonozaki sisters, and I'll come running at Mach speed.
あ、バッチー方はお姉ってことで。
Oh, if you want sis, ask for the filthy one.
誰がバッチーだ。私は生ゴミが。
What am I, garbage? Who said that?
むしろ燃えないゴミと呼んであげてください。
At least call her non-combustible waste.
リカちゃん、
Rika-chan.
みーちゃんは環境に優しいんだよ。
Mi-chan is environmentally friendly, okay? Rina, you're comforting Mion in the wrong way. It's a funny stretch of lines there. We left Coach to look after her and headed to the festival in high spirits. It's just as Rika-chan said, there really isn't much we can accomplish by watching over Satoko. Satoko would be hurt to learn that she was the reason we couldn't enjoy the festival. In which case, it would be better to make a bunch of fun memories and tell her all about it after she wakes up. Really just rub her face in it. She'll have so much fun just listening to our stories that she won't be able to wait for Watanagashi next year. It's definitely one way of looking at it, I guess. The shrine grounds are already extremely crowded. Tons of people are walking around the shops dressed in yukatas, I always say that, and plain clothes. There are young people, old folks, couples, families, and close groups of friends. And in the middle of all that, huh? That girl looks familiar. Oh! Hey, Natsumi-chan! Mion seemed to notice her too, because she was exaggeratedly waving at the girl. She looked back when she heard the call and ran over with a huge smile on her face.
Mion-chan, konbanwa.
Who the hell is this? Mion-chan, good evening!
やっぱり会えたよ。
I knew I would see you.
よく来たね、夏美ちゃん。
I'm glad you can make it, Natsumi-chan.
今日は家族で。
Are you with your family today? Yup! I mean, is this our first time seeing this person? She has a sprite, so she's gotta be important, but like, who? Who?
お父さんとお母さんとおばあちゃんと4人で来ちゃった。
I'm here with my mom, my dad, and my grandma. Natsumi-chan waved her arms toward the three people standing behind her, probably her parents and grandmother. The mother-like woman said, "We'll go on ahead," so Natsumi cheerfully nodded at the woman and turned back to us. This girl is Natsumi Kimiyoshi-chan. She's a relative of Mayor Kimiyoshi, and Mion once introduced me to her when we met at 7th Mart. She mentioned back then that she wanted to come back for Watanagashi. Apparently, she made good on that.
あれ？
Huh?
ミオンちゃんの隣ってもしかして。
Mion-chan, the girl next to you, is that
夏美って君吉の？
Natsumi Kimiyoshi?
久しぶりですね。
Ah, it's been so long.
え？
Huh?
じゃあやっぱりシオンちゃん？
Is that really you, Shion-chan?
どうしたの？
What happened?
ひなみ沢に戻ったの？
When did you come back to Inamizawa?
いや、実はいろいろありまして。
Well, actually, it's a long story.
お姉が一人だと寂しいって泣くので仕方なく。
If I left Sis all alone, she'd get lonely and cry about it, so what else could I do?
嘘を言うな、嘘。
Stop lying, you liar.
二人とも昔と同じ。
Ha, you two are just the same as always. Shion was teasing Mion on one side of Natsumi-chan, and Mion was getting all worked up on the other. Natsumi-chan let out an amused laugh and seemed to be feeling nostalgic as she watched it play out.
なあ、俺思ったんだが、
Hey, I had a thought.
ここだと普通の女の子の方が浮いて見えるよな。
Normal girls seem out of place around here, don't they?
それはレナも普通
The
じゃ
hell does
な
that
い
mean,
ってこと
Ketchy?
かな？かな？
Does that mean Rina isn't a normal girl? Does it?
いいかいいかい。へな、顔を引っかいな。
みんなお待たせしたのです。
Thanks for waiting, everyone. Me?
あ、リカちゃんだ。
Ah, it's Rika-chan! But Rika-chan had finally returned after changing into her Shrine Maiden outfit, and Rina transformed into Take It Home mode the moment she saw it. And then she shoved me out of her way. How?
巫女服姿
A shrine maiden Rika-chan is just too cute. I want to take her home with me. Reina, that hurts.
リカちゃんってフルでの
Rika-chan of the Frudays.
久しぶりだね。
It's been so long.
で、ミオンちゃん
Mian-chan?
今は近づかない方がいい。
It's best not to get too close.
命削られるから。
It could cost you your life. Okay.
というわけで行ってみようか。
Anyway, let's get going.
恒例の綿流し祭、参加者6人だから6強爆投。
We've got 6 participants at the bubmanXIV festival this year, so let's commence the 6 demon firefight. Yeah. Huh?
私も
Wait, me too? Natsumi-chan was the only one who couldn't keep up with the rapidly changing situation. She was flustered like a question mark was about to pop out of her head. Well, I guess that's a normal reaction, but the grand prize, unable to read the situation award, still goes to Mion, so of course that was a mere trifle to her.
おめでとう夏美ちゃん。
Congratulations,
今
Natsumi-chan!
日ひなみ沢に戻ってきた幸運をたたえ、一日部活体験の栄誉を与えよう。
In honor of the good fortune that brought you back to Inamazawa today, you get to be an honorary club member for the day.
部活って何の
Club member? What's that?
よくぞ聞いた。
I'm glad you asked.
我が部とはつまり複雑化した現代社会に鋭いメスを入れて活動する実践的かつ植物的なものにこそ価値を見出して飽くなき努力と探求を惜しまない。
Our club is like a sharp knife in complex modern society, sparing no effort to search for the value in practical and realistic things. As usual, Mion's explanation made no sense.
お気の毒ですが、このひなみ沢に戻ってきて最高。
Unfortunately, when you come to Inamazawa,
そして最低の思い出を持って帰ってもらいますよ。
you'll walk away with some of your best and some of your worst memories. Shion licked her lips as she said that with a dark, deep aura, and then donned a wicked smile.
レナは弱いからいじめないでほしいな。
Rina thinks it's best not to torment defenseless people like me.
仲良くやろうね。
Let's try to get along. And though Rina looked up with watery eyes, there was a pale flame burning in those very same eyes. She's clever, very clever, and extremely terrifying. Well... Natsumi-chan still has no idea what was going on, but it's a terrible sign if she's already in tears.
つまりみんなでゲームして遊ぶ部活なのです。
Basically, club activities are when we all play games together. Leave it to Rika-chan to give a proper explanation, but who would believe that at this point?
裏を返せば、さとこの代わりに夏美で遊ぼうという意味にもなりますが。
Or to look at it another way, let's play with Natsumi in Satoko's place. New Satoko. That's damn. She casually and elegantly said something egregious.
夏美ちゃん、さ。
Natsumi-chan, hey, Of course, I felt guilty for letting an amateur get involved in this, and I wanted to advise her to go back to her parents right away, but my back was trembling because I could feel the terrifying atmosphere coming from behind me. Looking back, the 4 of them all remained silent, but they were still pressuring me with their sharp glares. And those eyes were speaking to me. You want to take her place?
どうしました、前原さん。
What's wrong, Maibara-san?
いや、なんでもないんだ。
Oh, it's nothing.
ごめん。
Sorry, Natsumi-chan. I don't want to sacrifice myself.
とりあえず初心者の夏美ちゃんもいることだし、シンプルにポイント制でいくよ。
Anyway, since Natsumi-chan is a beginner and all, let's use a simple point
終
system.
わった後の総合点で勝敗を決定。
The winner will be decided by whoever has the most points at the end. Well, it's a fairly orthodox system.
で、ビリには罰ゲーム。
And whoever comes in last will receive the penalty.
わかりやすすぎるわ。
Now that's too straightforward. Is she taking no consideration for beginners? Is she taking... yeah.
さあ、部長さん。
Well, club leader,
号令をよろしく。
we're waiting your command.
たく、そんじゃ行くぜ。
Sheesh, let's get started already.
6強爆投。
6 demon firefight! The battle over the festival stall started on my command, and the commotion attracted the attention of most of the festival goers. A takoyaki eating contest, shaved ice slurping, ring toss, shooting, you name it. It was nothing but a childish frolic, but things were heating up because every one of us was seriously fighting to win, and everyone involved was having a wholehearted great time, even the people watching us. As a first-timer, Natsumi-chan was confused at first, but she gradually swung around and recovered her pace, sometimes even well enough to best us, and she was having a blast. I later heard from Mion that Natsumi-chan was really struggling to adapt to city life and the atmosphere at her new school. After hearing that, I felt deep respect for the kindness Mion showed in offering to include her in our escapades.
My
Burkun! It's just about time. We're counting on you, alright?
はい、わかりました。
Okay, got it.
任せてください。
Leave it to me.
お、ケイちゃんいよいよだね。
Oh, so it's finally time, Ki-chan.
口先の魔術師の本領発揮、楽しみにしてるよ。
I'm looking forward to a true showcase of the magician of words at work.
もう少しいい応援の言葉はないのか。なんだ口先の魔術師とは。
Keiichi, the magician of words, is a bit long to be shouting in a cheer, isn't it?
せめて計算マジシャンとでも呼べっての。
Just call me Kei the magician.
ますますうさんくさいのです。
This is getting more and more dubious.
紅茶好きの司令長官さんですか？
Do you mean some tea-loving commander-in-chief?
それじゃあケイちゃん、私は屋台パーラーへ向かいますから。
Anyway, Ki-chan, I need to get going to my festival stall.
売り上げ勝負でこっちが勝ったら、前にお姉にプレゼントしたフランス人形、私にも買ってもらいますからね。
If I win the sales competition, you have to bury me, you have to buy me that same French doll you gave Sis earlier, got it?
待て。
Hold on.
あれはタダでもらったから遠慮なくやれたが、買うとなると別問題だ。
The only reason I was able to give that thing away is because I got it for free. Actually, buying one is another story.
高いんだぞあれは。
Do you know how expensive it is?
ああ、
Oh.
ケイちゃん、なんかその言い方気に入らないね。
I don't like the way you said, or Ki-chan, I don't like the way you said that.
ならケイちゃんが負けたら、私にはそれ以上のプレゼントを要求する。
So if Ki-chan loses, I expect another more serious gift from me too.
な。
What?
それ以
The
上って
disrespect.
なんだろう。
More serious? Like what? Like what?
ひょっとして婚約指輪とか？
You mean like an engagement ring? And then a nuclear bomb went off. Oh! Cheers came flying from all around. Hey, this has nothing to do with all of you.
こ
Oh.
こで公開愛の告白ですか？
Is this a public confession of love?
まったくお熱いですね。
This is seriously getting heated.
違う。
That's not...
別にそういう意味じゃ。
It's not like that. That's not what I meant.
ミーの自爆なのです。ミー。
Me just self-destructed. Me.
指輪ってどんなだろう。
How? What kind of engagement ring would it be? How? Oh, the double how. Diamond?
ルビー？
Ruby?
それともオリハルコン？
Or maybe, or a calcum?
最後のは実在じゃねえ。
That last one isn't even real.
せめてプラチナとでも言え。
At least go with platinum.
っていうか、そんなの学生身分で買えるわけねえだろ。
And how do you expect a student to afford this?
というわけで、この勝負は今後のケイちゃんの台所事情に大きく関わってきますので。
So, sounds like this game will have a major impact on Ki-chan's financial situation.
頑張ってくださいね、お兄さん。
Good luck, brother-in-law.
こら待て。
Hey, wait.
勝手に決めるな。
Don't go deciding these things on your own. You just better win. Just can't lose. That's the mindset you have to go into. Just like that, the auction began like standing on the edge of a cliff. The pressure and embarrassment got to me in the beginning, so I made a lot of little mistakes. But it was very fun to see the people watching me shout my sales pitches were bursting into laughter, and that they were so curious they had to stop and look, so I was able to get back into my usual flow. And as I gradually got used to this role, I started recommending products to customers and selling them intelligently, one after another. There were supposed to be so many products up for sale, but they were all sold in no time. They were all sold in no time at all. And across the way, Shion's shop was a great success as well. As expected, customers who had heard of Angel Mort but were hesitant to step inside the store were surprised to find just how delicious the cakes actually were. and low-priced crepe-wrapped cakes targeted at children sold out in an instant. The store manager was overjoyed by the success even beyond his expectations, and he was proud to say that he'd take this great achievement into consideration for future product plans. And Rika's there. She just stared at the screen for a couple of seconds and then out. And yet, it's such a pity that Satoko wasn't able to attend this time. I'm definitely going to tell her all these fun stories when she wakes up. And we'll make it even more exciting next year, so Satoko will be able to keep smiling forever. My friends didn't say anything, but they all made that vow in their hearts. And of course, that goes for me too. Why did it flash Rika like that? It was unbelievable. No, maybe he just didn't want to believe it. Even as he ran away, somewhere in his heart he wanted it to be a mistake. He ran through the dark mountain trail, relying on the faint moonlight and delicate breeze to guide him. Oh, that drum and bass has come back. The pursuers were waving a searchlight around trying to find him, but his handiwork was far too intense for an amateur. Thanks to that, it gave the fleeing man an easier time finding his way, but the reflected light also got in the pursuer's way. No wonder Okanogi is so distraught, he muttered to himself, then laughed for thinking something so impertinent. Who am I to say things like that about them? He recalled he got too personally involved with Takano-san and Irie, and that he forgot his original job was to monitor them. And this wretched sight was the result. He thoroughly lamented his soft-heartedness. Intervention from public security officials and misappropriation of funds allocated to the Irie clinic. He thought he was just making a cursory inquiry into Rika-chan's casual doubts, but when he arrived at his destination, he found a fact so shocking that he couldn't even put his astonishment into words. Disturbing movements were happening within Tokyo, movements that by all right should never be happening in Hinamizawa and Miotsukushi. When he learned the truth, he thought it was a mistake at first. Apparently, Takano-san had chosen to walk down this road to destruction. Even thinking about it strictly from common sense, it couldn't be described as anything but treason. However, he changed his perspective and gave it another thought. What if the higher-ups in Tokyo were using this act of defiance as part of a power struggle? And what if Takano-san is aware of that and was receiving orders from one of those higher-ups? There's a connection. Everything that seems strange at first fits together nicely once all the puzzle pieces are assembled. And the result of that is a catastrophe that will wipe out all of Hinamizawa. It's a magnificent ritual dedicated to God, as woven by Mio Takano. Kill me? You really think you can do that, Jiro-san? Her voice lingered in his ears, echoing the back of his mind as he ran through the dark, quiet mountain path. It was just before the Watnagashi dedication ceremony. Takano-san surreptitiously invited me to see the inside of the ritual storehouse, so I went to the recesses of the Fude Shrine grounds with her. And in front of the storehouse, I turned toward her while she was excited and had a sparkle in her eyes, and decided to ask her a question. Takano-san. Takano-san. I want you to answer me honestly. What exactly are you planning? Planning? What's wrong, Jiro-san? A strange thing to say all of a sudden. I've been investigating you for a while now. Takano-san, who is that woman you were talking to on the phone the other day? Who, you ask? I speak to a great deal of women over the phone. Same, Takano. I say the same thing all the time. I have no idea who on earth you might be referring to. She pleaded ignorance to the bitter end. Still, I noticed Takano-san unconsciously avert her gaze any time I looked her in the eyes, so I could tell that the question had hit the mark and she was unsettled. There's no use playing dumb. I've already seen certain powers at Tokyo HQ making strange movements recently during my investigation. And someone involved with that made contact with you. Excellent work, as always. I'm slowly falling in love with you all over again. Sakno-san turned a sideways glance this way. Sweeping her hair back, I suddenly caught my breath. I could tell she was looking down on me and trying to provoke me, but the mysterious aura was what attracted me to her in the first place.
ねえ、ジローさん。
Hey, Jiro-san.
私、あなたが好きよ。
I like you.
話をそらさないでくれ。
Don't change the subject.
いろいろな男と付き合ってきたけれど、野心も野生味も私には合わなかった。
I've dated a lot of guys, but none of them interested me as much as you.
あなたのような固くて真面目な人が一番私にはぴったりの人だった。
I've learned that someone with a stern, diligent personality like yours makes the ideal partner for me.
だから私のすべてを受け止めてもらいたい。
So, I want you to accept all of me.
高野美代の本当をすべて理解してもらいたい。
I want you to understand everything about the real Mio Takano.
何を理解しようと言うんだい。
What specifically do you want me to understand? Takano-san chuckled and shrugged her shoulders at that question. There was a dazzlingly alluring and eerie radiance shining from her narrow eyes. It seemed like I could see my reflection in them, so I put my strength into my feet to keep them from subconsciously slipping back.
いよいよなの。
At last,
もうじきなの。
it's almost here.
私のずっと見続けてきた夢が叶う日がもうすぐやってくるの。
The day that I've dreamed of for so long will finally arrive.
夢だって。
Your dream?
二郎さんには何度か話したことがなかったかしら。
Yes. Didn't I tell you time and time before, Jiro-san?
神と等しき力を手に入れ、神と同格の存在となってこの世に君臨し、そして愚かしくも無力な人間たちに神の罰を下す。
To gain the power equivalent to a god and rule over the world, releasing divine punishment on the foolish, helpless people of the world?
素敵でしょ
Doesn't it sound lovely?
う。そしてそれはもうすぐ実現する。
And that'll soon be a reality.
私の手によってね。
Born from my own two hands. I couldn't keep up with Takano-san's enrapturing story, so I simply stared vacantly. But I suddenly came to my senses when I realized we'd gotten off topic, so I interrupted to express my thoughts.
君のやろうとしていることは自己欺瞞と自己陶酔の塊だ。
What you're describing is massive-scale narcissism and self-deception.
僕は管理の立場としてそれを容認するわけにはいかない。
As your supervisor, I can't approve of this.
だから頼む。
So please,
今すぐ思い直して計画を中止してほしい。
I'm asking you to rethink everything and halt this plan.
管理の立場
As my supervisor?
なら、あなた自身はどうなのかしら。
Then what about you, as yourself? Huh?
ひなみ沢の研究を3年以内に打ち切れと一方的に通告されて。
I was notified that all Hinamizawa-related research would be unilaterally canceled within 3 years.
そしてその理由が自分たちの懐を温めるため。完全に彼らのエゴよ。
And it's being done simply to line their pockets, all for their own selfishness.
私の研究、そしておじいちゃんの研究を過剰に誇ってひけらかすつもりはない。
My research and my grandfather's research are not things I would ever make of show, but of bragging about.
それでもひたすら人の善意を信じていつかは報われると身を削る思いを重ねてきた私の気持ちを。
But even so, I always believed in the goodwill of others and underwent great hardship hoping that someday I'd be rewarded.
あなたにはあなたにだけは分かってもらえると思うのは私の傲慢かしら。
Am I arrogant to think that you, and you alone, could understand me?
高野さん。
Takano-san.
ジローさ
Jiro-san.
ん、もう止まれないの。
There's no stopping it now.
坂道を下る機関車と同じで動き出したらもう止まることはできない。
It's like a train heading downhill. Once it gets going, you can't stop it.
私はひなみ沢症候群の研究に自分のすべてをかけてきた。
I bet everything on my Hinamizawa syndrome research.
それを 金のことしか考えられないクズどものエゴで潰され、私はもう空っぽなの。
And I was crushed by egotistical people who can think of nothing but money, so now there's nothing left of me.
だとしたら最後くらい私にだって自分の夢を叶える機会があっても不公平じゃないと思うのだけど。
In which case, if an opportunity to fulfill my dream finally arrives in the end, is it really so unreasonable of me to accept it?
そのために多くの命を踏み台にしてか。
And you'll use so many human lives as stepping stones to achieve that?
結局ね、人間はいつも一人なのよ。
In the end, humans are always alone.
自分の欲望を満たすためなら正義とか倫理なんて平気な顔でドブに捨てるわ。
If you want to achieve your desires, simply throw justice and ethics away with a calm look on your face.
それは歴史が証明している。違うかしら？
History has proven that to us. Or do you disagree?
そして歴史に名を残してきたのはほとんどそんな人たち。
And nearly all the people who have left their names in history could be described as such.
正直者はバカを見る。よく言ったものよね。
Honesty doesn't pay. And that's what they always say.
高野さん、落ち着いて考え直してくれ。
Takano-san, calm down and think it over once more.
君は少なくとも僕の知っている君はそんな人ではないはずだ。
You, or at least the you I know, isn't supposed to be that kind of person.
あらあら。
Oh dear.
ジローさん、そんなあなたの青臭いところとっても好きよ。
Jiro-san, I love your naivety, you know?
でも残念。私は元からこういう人間なの。
But unfortunately, this is who I've been from the very beginning.
たくさんの血を吸いすぎて、この手は血みどろ。
I've sucked too much blood and my hands are far too blood-stained. I've sucked too much blood. What a way to
そ
put
の
it.
匂いとその感触と味を知ってしまったら、もう戻れない。
Once you know that smell, that feel, that taste, there's no turning back.
戻るつもりもないけどね。
Not that I ever planned on going back.
Takano-san.
Takano-san. Just then I heard an unnatural rustling among the trees, and I sensed a damp breath clearly distinct from the wind.
まさか高野さん。
No way. Takano-san.
ねえ、ジローさん。
Hey, Jiro-san.
私はね、あなたのことがとても好き。
I really do love you.
黙って協力してくれたら、報酬はもちろん重いのは。
Taken out of context, this would make it seem like she's about to admit that she's like a full-on like actual vampire or something. The way she was like making allusions to what she was doing and how she's like a bloodsucker or whatever. It's like Tomotake's like, are you? He'd probably be wishing that that was actually what was happening, not the opposite here. If you do keep it quiet and cooperate, of course, I'll reward you with your heart's desire.
もしあなたが望むなら、私のすべて、そして残る時間を
If you
あ
wish,
なたに捧げてもいい。
if you wish it, I'll dedicate myself and all the time I have left to you.
それだけはあなたにだけ私のことを話したように、私の正直な気持ち。
That alone is how I truly feel, much like I told you and only you about my true self.
だから時間はかけてもいい。
So, take your time.
考えてくれないかしら。
Why not think it over?
残念だけど返事は一つだ。
Sorry, but there's only one way I can answer that. My guy Tomotake is a man of morals.
君たちを
He will not be swayed
君を見逃す
by
わ
the
け
blonde lady he loves. What you people, or what you in particular are planning, is something I can never overlook.
そう、やっぱりね。
Indeed, thought so.
残念だわ。
How unfortunate.
本当に
Uh-oh.
残念。
How truly unfortunate. Ah. Gun noise. How much time had passed since then? Fortunately, I was able to escape to deep in the mountains before the mountain dogs could catch me, but the pursuers still managed to encircle me and cut off my escape routes. And to make things worse, the fireworks at the festival served as effective camouflage to hide the sound of gunfire. They weren't resorting to rapid fire, but they'd already fired off several shots, and I was in extreme danger of getting hit. Escape may no longer be possible, in which case, at the very least, for Rika-chan's sake. That was all I could think about as I ran through the hilly countryside, desperately searching for a way out. But my frantically moving legs suddenly came to a halt as my thoughts turned to despair, because the scene spread out before my eyes was swamp. God, it's all over. Don't give up. You can't lose heart. Huh? Target successfully tased by sniper fire. However, target has been lost after falling into the swamp. How amateurish. I know they can't fire their guns, but I thought they were at least trained for night operations. Takano brushed her hair back and called out to Okinogi behind her. She sensed an apologetic sigh coming from behind, but she didn't want to turn around to see it. My apologies. There's no way we could have expected you to evade everyone and flee to the mountains. It's the soldier's duty to respond to any and all unforeseen circumstances. It's hard to believe that hand-picked self-defense force members could be so inept. Even if they weren't allowed to fire their guns, Tomotage managed to escape when he was surrounded and heavily outnumbered. And even though they tried firing wired stun guns, he was able to dodge them like some kind of superhuman. No doubt, Takano was completely astonished herself. Nightingale 4 through 8, continue searching the swamps.
9 から16は周辺を紹介します。
9 through 16, patrol the surrounding area.
他の隊員への追加のご命令を要請します。
The rest of you, await further orders. You're all fucking idiots! All hands, continue your mission until the target has been found. What is the search party even for? Use your brains! Wait. Takano suddenly smiled like she had come up with something, called out to stop Okinogi. Her cold smile combined with her black uniform reminded Okinogi of a witch, and he couldn't help but shudder. It's alright if we lost him. We've got our backup plan just in case, so why not use it? The backup plan, you say? But how are we going to explain this to the Kuko? All we need is elimination of the liaison and a clear demonstration of Hinamizawa syndrome. We can confirm his body at a later date. Besides, there's no problem if the curse befalls another person. There's no time. Hurry. They had prepared an insurance policy just in case Tomotage had changed his mind, but there was no reason not to use it. With that in mind, Takano gave the order with a particularly cold-blooded expression. Okinogi silently nodded, but took a few people out of the room with him. There's no turning back. Huh? Key-chan, here you go.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, thanks. Mion handed me a lump of cotton and I squatted down on the edge of the riverbank to gently set it adrift. Tons of little snowball clumps were drifting down the dimly lit river, giving the area an otherworldly atmosphere. This is nice. Mion gently responded yeah to my casual mutterings. Then she gently knelt down beside me and held my hand tight.
お疲れ様、ケイちゃん。
Thanks, Ki-chan.
おかげで盛り上がったよ。
You really made this so exciting.
みんなのおかげだ。
It's thanks to everyone.
俺一人じゃ何もできなかったしな。
I couldn't do any of this on my own.
それでもここまで盛況に仕立てたのはケイちゃんがいたからだよ。
Still, the reason we were able to prepare everything so well is because we had you here, Ki-chan.
それはみんなわかってる。
Everyone understands that.
もちろん私だって。
And of course, that includes me. Mion looked directly at me and smiled as she said that. Aww, those few words completely blew away all the stress and fatigue from all the running around I've been doing the past 2 weeks.
あのさ、ケイちゃん。
Hey, Ki-chan?
なんだ？
What's up?
その一人で抱え込まないでね。
Listen, you don't have to shoulder all of your burdens alone, okay? I remained silent and gazed at the flowing water. Mion leaned her cheek against my shoulder while squeezing my hand tighter.
シオンからちょっとだけ話聞いた。
I heard something from Shion.
ケイちゃんがなんかすごく大きなことを調べて回ってるって。
She said that you've been going around investigating something big.
リカちゃんと一緒に。
With Rika-chan?
私たちにも言えないことなの？
Is it something you can't tell us about?
ごめん。
Sorry. I couldn't say anything more than that. There is indeed a conspiracy lurking behind Hinamizawa that we're pursuing, and also Takano-san's true identity. It would be so much easier and more encouraging if I could talk it over and ask for help. In fact, I considered sharing the details with Mion more than once or twice in the past. But even so, our enemy is strong and cunning. Our movements are hard to notice when we're acting on a small scale, but as our number of allies increases, so does the chance that our foe's watchful eye will detect something, making our chances that much smaller. I could very likely result in us irresponsibly getting everyone else involved. So I can't say anything yet. We still don't have enough information, so this isn't the right time to confess.
わかった。
Okay, I understand.
信じるよ。
I trust you.
ミオン。
Mion. I turned toward Mion. She was giving me a warm smile.
ケイちゃんが秘密にするってことは私たちのことを思ってなんでしょ？
Whatever it is you're keeping secret, I'm sure you're doing it out of consideration for us, right?
だったら私は何も聞かない。
So, I won't ask you anything more.
たとえどんなことがあっても私はケイちゃんの選んだ方法を信じるし、ケイちゃんが正しいって誰にでも胸張って言ってみせる。
No matter what happens, I'll trust the choices you made. I'll stand tall and tell everyone you were right.
すまん。
Sorry.
でもねケイちゃん、約束して。
But, Ki-chan, promise me this.
助けが必要になったら絶対に遠慮なんかしないって。
Promise you won't hesitate to speak up if you ever need help.
私はいつでもケイちゃんの味方だし、最高の仲間のつもりでいるんだからさ。
I'm always on your side, Ki-chan, and I want to be the best friend I can be.
ね。
Okay?
あ、わかった。
Yeah, got it. After hearing that, Mion gave me a firm nod and said, "All right," and got up and wiped the dirt from her knees. Then she gave me a strong pat on the shoulder and a cheerful, energetic smile.
期待してるよ、院長さん。
Counting on you, class rep.
じゃあね。
See ya. Mion waved her hand as she said that, then ran over to the old folks gathered on the side of the riverbed. I was really thankful for Mion's concerns and very sorry about it.
ケイチ。
Keiichi? A voice called me from behind. Looking back, it was Rika-chan.
ミーは何か言ってましたか？
Did me say anything?
いや、
No.
ただ俺たちのことには気づいてるみたいだった。
But it seems she's noticed something going on between us.
俺たちが言い出すまでは知らないふりをしてくれてるんだろうな。
She'll probably keep pretending she doesn't know anything until we tell her.
過剰に動けば高野たちが計画を早めるかもしれません。
If we move around too much, it might cause Takano and the others to expedite their plans.
消極的かもしれませんが、今は赤坂と富田家の動きを待つ時だと思うのですよ。
Excuse me, I could feel that sneeze coming. I was pausing there. This may be excessively passive, but for now, I think we should wait on Akasuka and Toмотake before taking action.
だな。
Yeah. We continued to stare at the surface of the water. The cotton balls flowing down the river had already drifted downstream, turning the river back to normal.
行く川の流れは絶えずして、しかも元の流れにあらずか。
Ceaselessly the river flows, and yet the water is never the same.
何ですかそれは。
What's that?
北条記だ。
It's from Hojoki.
大昔のエッセイってやつかな。
It's an essay written in the distant past.
時間の流れは止めどもなく続いているが、その中にある出来事は一つとして同じものがないって意味だよ。
It means that the flow of time always continues non-stop, but none of the events within it are ever the same.
そうかしら。
Oh, what's the word I'm looking for? How relatable to, that's not the word I was looking for, but gets the point across. How relatable to the moment. Is that so? Rika-chan had a lonely smile on her face as she threw those words out.
幾千度。もう正確な数を忘れてしまうくらい。同じ時を過ごしてきた。
I've endured this same time period thousands of times, so many that I can't remember the exact number.
でも重ねれば重ねるほど同じことの繰り返しが続くようになっていい加減飽き飽きしたくらい。
But the more it repeats, the more I experience the same events. Gotten completely sick of it.
運命が無限に存在するなんて、それは経験したことのない人のざれ言よ。
The idea that fate is full of infinite possibilities is nonsense spoken by someone who has never experienced it.
そうかもな。
Maybe so.
でもそれはリカちゃんが同じ選択を選び続けた結果じゃないのか。
But, Rika-chan, isn't that a result of you continuing to make the same choices?
ずいぶん決めつけてくれるわね。
That's a pretty harsh assumption
よく知りもせずに。
from someone who knows so little. Out of the blue, Rika-chan raised her head and spoke like she was offended.
同じ選択なんてそんな面白くもないこと。
Do you-
私が望んだとでも。
Do you think I wanted to make the same boring choices?
嬉しさも驚きも二度続けば面白くない。
The joy and surprise are lost if you experience something twice.
だから私はずっとそれが起こることを楽しみにしてい
So, I've always looked forward to it happening.
た。いつも意外性を求め続けてい
I've always continued to seek surprises.
た。でもね、ケイチ。運命の分岐は無限じゃないの。
But Keiichi, the branches of fate are not infinite.
私はそれを知ってしまったから。だから
I've come to learn that, so
それこそリカちゃんの決めつけだろ。違うか。
that's just it. You've assumed that, Rika-chan. Or am I wrong? I insisted further to Rika-chan.
リカちゃんはこの世界が今までに経験したことのないものだと前に言ってたよな。
Rika-chan, didn't you tell me earlier that you had never experienced a world like this before?
だったらまだ運命は打ち止めじゃない。
If that's the case, then fate hasn't reached a dead end.
可能性は有限かもしれないが、全てを見つけたと思うのは早すぎる。
The possibilities may very well be finite, but it's far too soon to conclude you've discovered everything.
だからもう少し頑張って探してみようぜ。
So, let's keep searching a little longer.
先に見えるのは袋小路だったとしても。
Even though everything I've seen before has led to a dead end?
それを決めたのは誰だ？
Who decided that?
運命でも神様でもない。それはリカちゃん自身じゃないか。
Neither fate nor God decided that. Something you determine yourself, right, Rika-chan?
だから信じてみようぜ。
So, let's have faith
まだ選択が残ってるかどうかさ。
that there are still choices to be made.
そうね。
Right.
かけてみようかしら。
Let's take that chance.
もうこれが最後なんだし。
Because this is the last time. I bitterly smiled from the depths of my heart. Even though there was no helping it, Rika-chan just can't break the habit of sounding desperate. At least, if you could find that girl who was always together with Rika-chan, that Hanyu girl, then the situation could change just a little more. Just then, when I gazed upstream, I caught a glimpse of something black. It seemed like a large stone, but the part touching the surface of the water was swaying like a piece of clothing. A piece on clothing? I think that's supposed to be of. So I looked more closely. No, that's not stone. That's no stone. Could that be a person? Keiichi! Is it Toмотake? He's going to be like, huh! I quickly ran upstream as Rika-chan shouted at me from behind. Then, I didn't bother taking off my shoes and went straight in the water to head to the humanoid shadow. No. After approaching closer, I was now confident it was an unconscious person. Are you alright? Hey! I immediately lifted up the person's limp body and called out to them. Looking closer, oh, it was a girl. Her body was as cold as ice, and she was dressed in a shrine maiden outfit like Rika-chan was wearing, which was now soaking wet. But most bizarre of all... No way! Are those horns? Why is she in the river? They were on the sides of her head, and they felt firm. With her wet hair covering them like this, they resembled sheep or goat horns. What on earth is this girl? Hanyu! Fucking Hanyu appears. Then Rika-chan finally caught up with me, and as soon as she saw the girl's face, her eyes opened wide as she called her name. And then, without looking away for even a moment, she ran over and gazed at the girl. Hanyu? Why? How did you end up like this? Rika-chan, calm down. For now, we need to get her to the clinic. No! Not the clinic. Bring her to my house. Got it. I picked up the girl she called Hanyu and walked out to the riverbank. Rika was walking beside me, watching anxiously, but she suddenly stopped and gasped. What's wrong? Rika-chan. Keiichi. How are you able to touch Hanyu? Good point. Good point. Hanyu has materialized. Hanyu's like, this story isn't over until I appear. Oh, when I came to, my surroundings were engulfed in flames. Oh, is this Hanyu's perspective now? Leaves burned and scattered into black ashes that danced in violent gales of blazing heat. Flowers turned to charcoal, and where thick foliage once stood was now wreathed in crimson hellfire from the lowest depths of hell. Oh, and as for the earth, it was mantled with countless rivers of blood and a sea of unidentifiable corpses, leaving the ground only visible through what faint gaps lay between. I swung my hand, shaking off the blood splatter that's manicured my extended claws. And then I turned around. It's hard to read this red text on the red background. And then I turned around and faced the three brave, no, foolish warriors pointing swords at me, and approached them one step after another in the chorus of my feet rubbing against the gravel. Stay away! Stay away! The men in front of me slowly backed away in rhythm with my own steps, their swords and bodies shaking. They probably assumed I'd chase them and cut them down if they turned their backs to me. It was quite admirable. They were shedding large drops of sweat, clearly not induced by the immense heat, yet still focused their fearful gaze on me. It surely would have been effective if I were a bear or beast, but I was no beast, and like the god they spoke of every day, I held little mercy. I closed the distance between us in the blink of an eye, thrust my claws at the three soldiers, and skewered each and every one of them without hesitation. Damn! One in the throat, and the one opposite of him in the heart. The final one, a man who had taken a mere 2 steps back further than his companions, instinctively tried to turn around, but I seized that moment to pierce his medulla oblongata down to the base of my fingers. Oof. The three fell to the ground and stopped moving without another word. My hands were already sticky with blood, dulling the sharpness of my claws when I mowed them down. Still, these slender claws were sharper than any weapon they possessed, meaning I could easily penetrate their fragile skin virtually effortlessly. How many people are there left? I tried to remember how much of my prey remained as I caught my breath, but I soon realized it was futile and gave up. In the several hours since this began, I could remember I killed at least 5 commanding officers, the leader of which I had defeated with little effort just a few minutes ago. It was only natural to scramble to flee after losing your commander, but the majority of the forces they'd sent were currently in retreat, leaving only a few stragglers in this area. There was no need to seek further prey now that the enemy had lost their will to fight. Once their numbers piled up again, their doom was sealed. Suddenly, a large tree near me started creaking from the roots and leaning, before eventually falling to the ground with a loud crash. I gave it a blank look of no interest, then made my way through the thicket and arrived at high ground that served as a good vantage point. The moonlit village was speckled with the flickering of torchlights. Just a short while ago, they had displayed unbroken unity and coordination, as well as vast numbers until they came here. But now there were less than half of the torches I saw earlier, grouped up awkwardly here and there with no conformity. Pitiful. I looked down upon the pandemonium scornfully, my heart cold enough to give even me shivers. They brought this on themselves with their curiosity. God smote them with divine punishment for their overabundant greed and pride. Indeed, right now at this very instant, I was their god. Several weeks ago, that was Oka's request. Uka. I was reluctant to begin with. I would have refused immediately if anyone else had asked. I want to save the villagers suffering from the plague. Oka came to me and said that, then begged me to lend her my aid. Indeed, we could probably cure any endemic disease on the planet with the equipment I had. However, I was reluctant to agree. No, to be honest, I even felt unpleasant. But above all else, it was surprising for Oka to even suggest that. As Oka Furude, the only daughter of the Furude family, the Mikos of Onagafuchi village that served Oyashiro-sama, the man-eating demon and guardian deity of the village. I never told her the reason, but by some means, she could see me when normal people couldn't. Furthermore, she wasn't scared at all of me, the village's symbol of fear and abhorrence. Far from it, she would talk to me with a kind smile. I loved her. It had been 15 years since the first time we'd spoken on this planet. Surprisingly enough, that was actually the first time I accepted a request from Uka despite our long companionship. So by all means, I wanted to take on her request without the least bit of hesitation. And I would have had she asked anything else. You're sure of this? Truly? Those were the first words I uttered once I got my feelings under control. Uka smiled and nodded without hesitation or thought. That's why I got even more confused. I knew she and her family had been constantly slandered by the villagers as shady Mikos, who were entranced by a demon. As a result, even though they put on a show of faith for her, Uka was treated as a pariah by the village despite being a Miko. That's why I nearly doubted my ears when she told me she wanted to save those very same villagers. That kindness and magnanimity of yours. I love you for that, and I'm truly proud to have you as my friend. However, I continued, there was something I had to tell her. Can the villagers understand this disposition of yours? They don't treat you as one of them, even in the best of times. And you yourself should be well aware of that, shouldn't you? Ah, indeed. What you speak is true. A toothpick changes everything. It's a toothpick changes everything, Rika. A different shade of hair changes everything. That's why I'm still not sure if this is the right choice. Maybe I'll come to regret it. However, there's something I can do right now. And I know I'll regret it unless I do it. If nothing else, I'm sure of that. That's why I want you to help me. If you don't want to do it for the villagers, then do it for me. Please. Oko was serious. Villagers unable to bear the symptoms of an endemic disease were dying even as we spoke. And perhaps it was only the natural providence of a hierarchical society. But death's hand was not fair, coming for the weak and the impoverished first. Oka. There's something I'd like you to tell me. What is it?
王家の子供は
Your daughter, the one who was born recently.
病にかかっているのですか？
Does she have the illness?
大丈夫よ。今はね。
She's alright. For now.
でもこのまま病気の蔓延が続けば。
But if the disease keeps on spreading?
わかりましたのです。
Very well.
私は王家の子供を助けるために協力するのですよ。
I will help you to save your daughter. That was how I chose to think of it. Framing it that way made the whole affair a bit easier for me. And then, I used the remaining equipment and all the blood samples I'd collected to synthesize a remedy for the endemic disease. This endemic disease was extremely simple compared to that illness, so it was very effective. Thanks to that, most of the infirmed recovered within a few days, and the village of Onigafuchi revived from the brink of death. But I was ever anxious. Perhaps there was a presentiment I couldn't get out of my mind. And then, that presentiment, no, my desire to be proven wrong turned against me, and stood before Oka and myself in the worst possible manner. Fire. Everything was burning, swallowed by flames that could reach the heavens. I witnessed the crimson lotuses from hell blossoming, and those who desperately fled from its menace. I heard screams and sobs, as well as the roar of homes and storehouses collapsing to the flames. The creatures of this planet particularly feared fire. That was proof their cultural and intelligence level was very immature. Since I'd gone down to the settlement, I'd expected someone brave or foolish wielding a sword or something to face me. However, it seemed they were prioritizing their own protection above all else, and thus were in no state of mind to be doing otherwise. Suddenly, my eyes turned toward the shadow of a building. A mother, most likely late in evacuating, was carrying her small daughter and shivering as she looked at me. Her eyes swayed with fear and hatred. But was it because they were weak that they failed to understand that hatred alone was not enough to take on a foe? Yes, the weak should know their place. They should reflect long and hard about their own foolishness, and allowing themselves to ruthlessly hurt their fellow man out of desire for things beyond their reach, and whether that can be forgiven. In hell, the world after death you all speak of. I heard something. Voices were approaching. The noisy sounds were gradually replaced by human voices. Their words were all likely those of grief, fear, desperation, and despair. I didn't need the translation device anymore. It was only natural they'd be like that when their only escape route, the bridge connecting Onigafuchi village to the adjacent village, had collapsed. The more they thought they were saved, the greater their despair when they were driven to death. I wondered what kind of faces they were making when faced with the deep ravine. When I thought that, something like rapture seethed in my heart, and I smiled bitterly. So in the end, I'm a demon, huh? I thought I abandoned all my emotions, yet my blood raged in desire of prey. No matter how much I tried to smooth things over, no one would believe me when they saw my claws and fangs suited for battle. Not even Uka, surely. I felt a little lonely when I thought that. Even so, this was the only path I had left. It happened one day several months after I listened to Uka's request. Concerned at how Uka hadn't shown herself to me recently, I secretly went down the mountain. Uka had warned me for ages that it'd be best not to go to the village all that much, but my anxiety kept welling up when I was alone. I could no longer bear it. My feet and my heart felt so heavy, but I was sure it would all go away once I saw Uka's face. Even if I worried her and she got angry with me for going down the mountain, I was sure in the end Uka would lightly scold me like a mother, smiling and patting my head. Then I'd feel better. I'd surely be saved. So please. But when I got to the shrine where Uka lived, I saw villagers with wide, bloodshot eyes, each carrying their own weapons. They were surrounding someone, their hands bound with straw rope. Dangling from the highest tree in the area was Uka, covered in wounds. The villagers were shouting, calling Uka a traitor. They cursed her as a heretic who'd abandoned her humanity and sold her soul to a demon. Amongst them were many whose lives had been saved by my medicine. No, in fact, nearly all of them were. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. After the village's endemic disease had been remedied by the medicine Uka had brought about, the village was split in two. The healthy who argued to purge the impurities, and the sick who were said to have sold their souls to a demon. Those who hadn't caught the endemic disease cursed her as a sinner who consorted with a demon. In contrast, those who had been saved by the medicine revered her as a messiah. And so the village, which was already made up of several factions who had multiple squabbles with each other, were divided in two by the incident, creating creating what would later be known as a powder keg situation. Of course, Oka wasn't the least bit pleased by the situation. She sincerely and proactively tried to act as a mediator between them on many occasions. But she failed to reach the villagers whose hearts were hardened by suspicion, and as a result, both sides turned their blades on her, accusing her of being a swindler and a traitor.
この村を出ましょう、オーカ。
Leave this village, Uka.
もうここはあなたの住める場所ではないのです。
You can't live here any longer. Last time I met Uka, gave that suggestion before her haggard, exhausted frame.
今のままだとあなたの気持ちに応えてくれる人はいないのです。
At this rate, no one will reciprocate your charity.
いいえ、それどころかあなたを傷つけようとする人さえいます。
No, it's beyond that now. There are even those trying to do you harm.
この村を出て別の場所にあなたとあなたの家族の住める場所を探しましょう。
Leave this village and search for a new home for you and your family.
私も一緒に行くのです。
I'll come with you. The reason I had stayed in this land to begin with was out of guilt, to repent for the mess I'd made, but that duty should have been fulfilled when the endemic disease was eradicated. By this point, I believe that was supposed to have been Onifuchi's village's fate all along to be decimated by the endemic disease. It would be no concern of mine if everyone living in this land were to fade away, but Uka was an exception. Besides, I had a way to help Uka's family out to ensure they could live a carefree life even in a foreign land. But Uka shook her head and spoke.
フルデの巫女はこの鬼ヶ淵の象徴。
The Furude Miko is the symbol of Onigafuchi.
この地に起こるすべての最悪を取り除くことが
It is the
フルデ家に
duty
生まれた者の定め。
It is the duty of those born into the Furude family to remove all disasters that strike this land.
私はずっとそう教えられてきて、それを誇りに思ってきたわ。
That's what I've always been taught, and I'm proud of that.
だから今ここで保身に走るわけにはいかないの。
So, can't afford to flee solely for my own safety.
彼らが王家のその思いに気づかなくてもですか？
Even if they never notice that compassion of yours?
大丈夫。きっと気づいてくれると思う。
Don't worry, I believe they'll notice.
いいえ、気づかせてみせる。
No, I'll make them notice.
私の父様は野党から村を守ろうと命を懸けて戦った。
My father risked his life to protect the village from bandits.
今度は私が村を守る番よ。
Now it's my turn to protect the village. Oka said that, and with eyes gleaming with resolve, gave me the most beautiful smile I'd ever seen from her. And now that very same Oka was hanging from a tree. Her pure white Miko robes are stained redder and blacker than her skirt. The sleeves I'd teased for being a little too big for her head. I'm just making up words now. The sleeves I'd teased for being a little too big for her had been torn cruelly, perhaps remnants of some severe punishment, exposing her white skin. Her dark hair, which I'd praised many a time for looking beautiful when the sun shone on it, had lost its luster and was disheveled. Her cute face, white as porcelain, was black and blue all over, a shadow of its former self. When I looked to see how the villagers saw her, I felt violent shivers run down my spine. Their eyes held the bloodlust of ferocious carnivores, and were glazed over with disgusting curiosity and avarice. These were the villagers Oka had so earnestly tried to help.
Miko-sama, どうですか?
How about it, Miko?
答える気になりましたか?
Feel like answering? Oka just groaned. That was all the more painful to look at.
聞こえてるのかよ。おい。
Hey, did you hear me? Even so, the man next to her paid that no heed, and lifted her chin with the timber he held.
だんまりかよ。
Cold shoulder, huh?
意外にしぶといよな。
I admit, you're more tenacious than I thought.
なあ、これだけ攻めたら帰って口を聞かなくなるんじゃないか？
Hey, don't you think beating her so badly will only make her less inclined to talk?
大丈夫だろ。
No worries.
旦那はやっちまったけど、まだ娘は生きてるしな。
We may have killed her husband, but her daughter still lives.
弱ったところで連れ出せば、さすがに黙ってられ ぜ。
If we bring her out when she's weak, she won't be able to keep quiet.
生きてる。
Alive, huh?
確かに息さえしてれば生きてることになるがな。
I suppose so, in the sense that she's still breathing.
いいんだよ。こいつらは鬼に魂を売った奴らなんだから。
It's fine. These are the people who sold their souls to a demon.
むしろ俺たちは鬼退治をした正義の死ってことになるかな。
If anything, that makes us demon-slaying heroes, doesn't it?
それよりも本当にあるんだろうな、お宝。
Anyway, is it really a treasure?
殿様も軍勢を構えてきた以上、言って何も見つかりませんでしただと、俺たちの命が危ないぞ。
The feudal lord's already prepared his forces, so our lives will be on line if we come back empty-handed.
ああ、平気平気。
Yeah, it's all fine.
ミコさんの後をつけてちゃんと確かめてきたしさ。
I followed the Miko first to make sure.
山の奥には見たこともない建造物があって、すげえお宝がいっぱいだったぜ。
There was this building deep in the mountains I'd never seen before, so there's gotta be one hell of a treasure inside.
それでなくとも、この前の薬があれば、また大儲けできるぜ。
Well, even if there isn't, we still have the medicine from last time, so we could make another killing selling that. Huh?
しかし、この巫女さんも人がいいよな。
But boy oh boy, is this Miko too nice for her own good.
ちょっと調子悪いふりしてたら、薬をタダでくれるんだもの。
All we had to do was fake a little illness for her to give us the medicine for free.
それを隣村の病人に高値で売り
Oh
つけて、
boy.
こちたら大助かりってか。
I never thought we'd get so rich selling it off at a high price to the ill in the next village over.
今こいつらなんて。
What did they just say?
ま、当てが外れた分、稼がせてもらわないとな。
Well, I'll have to make her work for the ones that were duds.
みこしに乗せておだてておけば、少しは恩恵に預かれるかと思ってたんだが。
Because we thought we'd benefit from her if we let her play leader and flattered her.
みこしおだててだと。
Playing leader? And flattered her?
バカみたいにみんな仲良くなんて繰り返して、まあご立派なお考えだことで。
Guess it's an admiral mindset, and all to keep telling everyone to get along like an idiot.
もっとも、俺たちは山向こうの連中がどうなろうと知ったこっちゃないがね。
Not that we give a damn what happens to those people on the other side of the mountain.
そうだそうだ。
Yeah, that's right.
あいつらから先に攻撃を仕掛けてきたんだ。俺たちが歩み寄る必要なんてない。
They're the ones who attacked us first, so we don't need to compromise with them.
なんせ俺たちには。
And besides, we
鬼が味方してるんだからな。
have a demon on our side.
誰が
Who?
誰が味方だと。
Who did you say was on your side?
こんな奴らのために。
For these low lives.
こんな猛邁で臆病で下劣で恥知らずで傲慢で嘘つきで野蛮で最低な醜い汚い儚いゴミ生物のために私は
For these ignorant, cowardly, vulgar, shameless, arrogant, lying, savage, wretched scum,
私とUka
Me and Uka were... Uka was... The screams had gotten a lot quieter. I could hear miserable sobs in their place. Have they finally given up? No. They're probably still offering prayers that'll never be answered, desperately wanting to cling to something. So be it. I'll hear you out. I am Oishiro-sama, the supreme god you ignorant, cowardly, insignificant lowlifes worship. Now pray and repent for your conceited actions, your foolish thoughts. Do so, I will at least begin granting death to those who fervently pray for as little pain as possible. Though there shall be no respite from your pain. Heh, heh, heh. Ho, ho, ho. Now then, the festival is almost over. What death shall I grant to those huddled and trembling in fear? Right then. A human presence stopped behind me. I sensed bloodlust. No, that's not what this pure sensation was. Assuming it was one of the soldiers from the hunt, I turned around. I had only halfway turned my body. What? I was frozen. I couldn't move. Uka. Whoa! Whoa! There was no mistaking it. It was Uka standing there, backed by the flames of the burning village, wearing her tattered and filthy Miko robes. In her right hand, she wielded a dully shining sword. Uka. Are your wounds alright? Not having expected her to have the strength to make it this far, the first thing I did was inquire about her well-being. However, Uka silently stared straight at me with a cold expression. Uka. Uka. Before long, Uka's face warped in agony, perhaps in the pain of her wounds, and she fell to her knees. I ran over to her in a hurry as soon as I saw that. Are you alright? Oh. Huh? It happened in an instant. I didn't understand what had just occurred. No, that wasn't it. My brain was rejecting the reality before me. Uka swung her blade at me. What? Blood poured from the cut on my cheek made from the sword's tip. It wasn't a major wound and it didn't hurt, and yet I felt a cold impact hit my head at full force. What are you? Your weak point. Uka muttered that as she placed the blade of the sword on her palm, closed her hand, and bathed the tip in her blood. Then, the moment she lifted her head, she swiftly closed the distance and swung. What? I immediately readied my claws and blocked the blow. But my claws, which should have easily intercepted the sword, broke off like hard candy at the base when they collided, flew into the air, and pierced the ground. What? The same kind of blood as a double-edged sword. It prevents your body from hardening. Right? Okay, that's... One more thing. Same goes for the barrier, protecting your body. I was cleaved diagonally and staggered as I held my unprotected right shoulder. Lukewarm yet vivid blood gushed out of my wound, and intense pain, that threatened to render me unconscious, rushed through my whole body. I was right. I remembered. 25 years ago, when I, who should have been immune to injury, learned the pain of being wounded. Right after I missed my footing on a mountain slope and ended up with my thigh impaled by a thorn poking out from the root of a large tree. And the one who helped me back then was the father of the kind person in front of me. And his daughter was wielding a sword and injured me? Why, Uka? Uka didn't answer. She just silently stained her sword in blood and closed the distance as if she spotted an opening. Her brow looked slightly furrowed. I wanted to believe it was her pain surfacing. Uka, why? Why are you swinging that sword at me? It doesn't make sense, does it? It's strange, right? I loved you. I listened to your every wish. Even the unreasonable ones. I said I wanted to help you when I learned you were in danger. I meant that. So why? Humans. Uka quietly readied the sword in both hands, blood still pouring from her palms. I could tell from the aura in her dark eyes she intended to defeat me with her next strike. Humans cannot live with demons. What? Even so, I had a dream.
楽しく過ごす夢。
A dream where I had fun with you and my family.
娘もきっとあなたのことを大好きになると思った。
I believed my daughter would love you for sure.
だって私があなたのこと
Because I loved you
大
too.
好きだったから。
Because I loved you too. Her eyes were faintly, no, clearly blurry with tears. I didn't understand. Why was she looking at me with such sorrow? I had the most fun when I'm with you. You said that. You said that to me with a smile, Uka. So why?
どうしてあなたはあんな奴らをかばうのです。
Why are you protecting those lowlifes?
奴らはあなたを騙した。
They tricked you.
それどころかつけ込んで利用しようとした。
Not only that, they tried to use you and take advantage of you.
それだけで万死、生きるに値しない。
You don't deserve to live after that.
しかも奴らはあなたとあなたの家族を。
And they ravaged you and your family.
殺されて当然なんだ奴らは。
They deserve to die.
私とオーカの思いを時間をめちゃめちゃにして。
They trampled on our feelings and the time we spent together.
生きていても益はない最低最悪の生き物だ。
Nothing benefits from their proliferation. They are the lowest form of creature there is.
いや、生き物と同列に扱うことすらおぞましい。
No, it is revolting to even consider them in the same category as creatures.
害を吐き散らかしてこの世のありとあらゆるものを食い散らかして蝕むゴミだ。
They're trash who leave havoc in their wake and devour everything this world has to offer like gluttons.
そうでしょオーカ。
Isn't that right, Uka?
そうよ。
Yes.
でもね、羽生。
But Hanyu. Large teardrops spilled forth from Uka's eyes.
私もその最低最悪の生き物なの。
I too am one of those lowest forms of creatures.
ゴミなのです。母様。
Am I trash, Mother? She knew. She came to me knowing about the circumstances of her birth from the very start.
違う。
You're wrong.
オーカは私の。
I'm not your...
違わない。
I'm not wrong! Eventually, Uka slowly, ever so slowly, looked up and smiled.
そしてこの惨劇を生んだのは紛れもない私。
And there is no question. I brought forth this tragedy.
私が母様に無理なお願いをしてしまったから。
Because I made an unreasonable request of you, Mother.
母様を頼ってしまったから。
Because I depended on you.
そんなの。
That's not... I wrung out my shaking voice. I wanted to deny it. The happy time I'd gained on this planet, meeting humans and giving birth to Uka. I couldn't accept that they were linked to this tragedy. By no means could I accept it.
だから裁かれるべきは私。
So, I'm the one who should be judged.
そしてこの村への最悪を守るためこの命を投げ出すのが。
And to sacrifice one's life in order to protect this village from disaster.
フルデの家に生まれた者の定め。
Is the fate of those born of the Furude family.
なんでそうなるのですか、オーカ。
Why? Why does it have to be this way, Uka? You're wrong. You're wrong, Uka. A fate like that doesn't suit you. You should have had the right to live a happier life.
だから。
So, yet, in spite of that, Uka thrust the tip of the sword out, readied herself, and then...
かかってこい。
Bring it on!
この化け物。
You monster! No way. Ah. Oh, Chie, I don't want to see your face right now. Alright, let's actually save it there. Let's actually make the pivot to Valkyria Chronicles. Like I said, most likely, if I just had to be 1,000,000% honest, it's more likely that Higurashi probably won't happen next weekend. But if that's the case, then what I'll try to do is still read Higurashi on Tuesday next week, but also maybe on like Monday or Wednesday or Friday, maybe I'll do an extra little bit of reading of Higurashi. So maybe we'll do like something else and Higurashi, like Higurashi and something else. So we'll get like another section in on that. Maybe something like that sometime next week. No guarantees, obviously. But that hopefully is kind of the plan, especially because we might not get Higurashi next weekend. Again, as mentioned at the top of the stream, due to outside plans. So, yeah, I'll try to make up at least a little bit of it come next week. We'll see. I do want to play a little bit of Valkyria Chronicles though still, so I'm going to throw a BRB up. I'll get that set up, do another stretch. I'm kind of annoyed because the package I was talking about at the top of the stream, USPS says it's delivered, but then I haven't gotten the email from the apartment that they got at their office, and I don't want to be antsy. So that's annoying. We'll have to wait on that. I'm gonna throw up a BRB. Do this one, and I'll get Valkyria Chronicles up. So be back in like a handful of minutes.